Uh-oh.
Hey, man. I think we just did this.
We're live.
He's got his flag going.
Welcome, North Dakota.
This is it. This is primary day. I hope that you got out and voted because right now, officially, the polls have closed in Central Time Zone.
They have.
They still got some work to do over there in Mountain.
Yep. Dickinson, southwest corner of the state, going to be a few more, about another hour till final polls close all throughout North Dakota. But whole eastern half of the state, majority of the state polls have now closed. If you didn't get a chance to vote, I wish
I'm sorry. Try again come November.
Exactly. Round 2, November 4th. 3rd?
Sure, we'll go with that. I have no idea.
We'll figure it out in a couple months for you. Don't worry.
We got a action-packed 3 hours for you.
It's going to be a long night. It's going to be a fun night. We are thankful for everyone that's joining us here. Thank you for tuning in. It means a lot to us. If you do want to leave a comment, feel free to comment if you have any questions for us or anyone we have on the show. We appreciate it all, and make sure you like, comment, subscribe. That way get all the interactions going as best we can, help get that algorithm bumped up. More people interact, more people hopefully will get on and watch with us tonight.
Algorithm, such big words for breaking out so soon.
I know, I'm jumping right into it.
All right. So we got in this 7 o'clock hour, we have Andrew Nias, executive director for the NDGOP, joining us. And we have Cheryl Biller, who is the executive director for the DIM NPL, joining us. So it's going to be exciting to check in with them, kind of see what they're anticipating from their respective parties this primary day.
For sure.
And we get to look at some of our exit polls that you work so diligently on.
We got some more people. We had a few more responses come trickle on in through the rest of the afternoon. And plus, if you missed our podcast earlier this afternoon, we'll go over them all for you again here. That way you can get a slice of the idea of where Minot might be trending towards starting at the poll closing. And
then we'll kind of look at some of those state elections.
Yeah.
So going to be a good 7 o'clock hour, and then be taking breaks right around the hour, every hour. Then we'll have some exciting stuff. 8 o'clock, we got Balasz, we got Katrina Christianson, Adam Goldwin, Sandy Sanford. We got them all.
We're going to have a big hour. It's going to be a action-packed night. If this is what you're into, I tell you what.
Yeah, it's going to be action-packed. We're ready. We're caffeinated. It's time to go. All right. So first off, let's look at these exit poll numbers.
Definitely get on into it. So again, to recap briefly here, this morning we were out between the Minot Auditorium, Ward County Administration Building, and North Dakota State Fair Center. We did some polling for a few hours this morning, and this afternoon we had a few more votes trickle in that we had sent out to some people. Now, luckily, we've had some more come back, so we'll get you some updated numbers here now.
56 entries. We have the breakdown here for Minot City Council. Of course, there's 3 seats there, 7 candidates, 2 of them being incumbents.
Yep.
We have Mike Blessum, 21%, Rob Fuller, 17%, Scott Samuelson, 17%, Mike Geetson, 12%, Leif Snyder, 11%, Scott Burlingham, 10%, and Stephen Padragula, 9%. As we pointed out earlier today, it's interesting to see the incumbents trending low on this list.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's interesting to see just where this is, of course, it's a snapshot into what Minot might be thinking, but it's interesting to see how it might be trending, because this isn't the only election where that's a similar thing.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see the real results here in an hour or so, but
bare minimum, it's shaping up to be a very contentious race. It's going to be tight.
And in the U.S. House, Minot is a fan of Rick Becker, 42% for the guy. Julie Fedorchuk, who has had a rough day.
It's been they've had an interesting day, to say the least.
So text messages get sent out saying that she's withdrawn. And if you read the text messages, at least the screenshots that we saw, it showed that basically polled when she withdrew at the NDGOP convention.
Yep. Back then, they were having a lot of issues with nominating someone on the floor.
Yeah, we're gonna have to ask Andrew Nias about this.
We're gonna have to get more in depth on that. Yeah, we got to get some more details from someone that was there.
About the convention, but about the
text messages.
The text messages being sent out, and
see what he has to say on that. If he has any opinion or if he has any updated information for us come that time too.
Absolutely. So very interesting there.
Who's coming in third right now? It's gonna be Trig v. Hammer.
Well, but that's Democrat. So
Yeah.
technically third is Karaman.
Fair.
And then Alex Balasz down there at the bottom. How about you go over the ones for governor?
Yeah, definitely. We got two major candidates going up against each other. Congressman Kelly Armstrong, who's been North Dakota's lone representative for the past 6 years. He is going up against our current Lieutenant Governor, Tammy Miller. Was started in her position in 2023. She was appointed to the position after former Lieutenant Governor Brent Sanford resigned. And ever since then, she has been right there with Governor Burgum, doing everything that he needs her to do, especially since he announced his presidential campaign last fall. She stepped in and was the head of the Senate, the state Senate for all of our legislature this year. Right now, though, looking like if you've seen any national polls, our poll is pretty similar. Kelly Armstrong right now is leading at about 60-some%. We got Tammy Miller coming in at second at 20%. And then because we are also polling on the Democrats too, we have Meryl Peepcorn at 12%. But as of right now, it's looking like it'll shape up like most of the other national polls have been, where Kelly Armstrong likely is going to run away with the race.
Crazy.
It's exciting. I mean, good chance that'll be our new governor next year. For the next 8 years, most likely will be Kelly Armstrong, barring.
So you're calling it right now?
No, I said likely.
Okay, just making sure we got that clarified.
I will give it a couple hours before I make that call.
All right, Minot Park Board, go at it.
Yeah, so three people running for 2 seats there. Right now we've got coming up in first, we have Chelsea Kirkhammer at 35% of the vote. We have Devin Mance coming in second at 33%, and finally rounded out by Cliff Hovda, who is sitting at 30%. So it's a very tight race right now, based on our polling. We have it could go anyway still. We can't make any kind of judgment based on our very limited polling information, but it's definitely shaping up that it'll be a tight race. And that kind of circles back to our city council race too, because Cliff Hovda, being the incumbent, is coming in polling right now.
Weird.
Exactly. Polling last in this race as well. It's an interesting thing to see how that's playing out right now.
School board is struggling with the same thing.
It is. It's an interesting thing to see, just Minot, at least based on our polling data, Minot seeming to want the establishment candidates to be on their way.
Scott Lauser, 18%. John Kerry, 18%. The guy's got a name, man.
Exactly.
John Kerry. That
Jim Kerry?
Well, no. Hey, John Kerry brings us all the way back to Bush versus Kerry.
This is the thing. Yeah.
John Kerry himself.
2004. Yep. You're right.
That brings us back a couple years. 18% John Kerry, 18% Bill Ehrman, 15% Michael Gessner, 13% Derek Trudell, 12% Lacey Lautenschlager, 11%, and Kaylee Borkwin, 9%. So the three that are leading is Lauser, Kerry, and Ehrman. And then District 38 House, probably the most interesting House race in the local area.
Yeah, the city of Minot region for sure.
Christina Wolf, 46%, Dan Ruby, 30%, and Lisa Olson, 23%. So ours is more of a Minot area, which District 38 kind of expands out a little bit west.
Yep. And like we were saying earlier, a lot of our polling it took place in Minot. It was at the Ward County Administration Building and the North Dakota State Fair Center, which is, of course, on the east side of town. So a lot of people that were polling there likely didn't vote for this race, but it still offers a relatively it's an interesting snapshot onto where Minot might be looking that does get to vote for that race, because also circling back to where we were talking about the incumbents, Dan Ruby, who's been sitting House legislature since I believe 2000, he is polling in second right now, behind Christina Wolf, who's a newcomer, and then Lisa Olson, who's a longtime city councilwoman, is right now, as of now, polling at 23%. But I mean, when the results start coming in, we're going to get a really good idea of where this is going to be sitting.
So the big question of the day, though, is did Julie Fedorchak, while the texts that were sent out against her are terrible, and there's no room for that, did she win the day?
She might have. I mean, like they say, any press is good press. She has had all of the news coverage on her today. She has been the main focus point of everyone. I mean, Rick Becker's gotten a little bit, but you haven't seen anything on Cara Mund or Alex Balasz today.
Right.
Julie Fedorchak, who had the news conference she called this afternoon, she has been able to walk through the majority of today with her name in the headlines.
So, and then does Becker lose whether their campaign says they didn't do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
And so do they lose though? Because everybody, like when you found that out, what was your first assumption? What did Becker do?
Of course. I think that's where most people initially jumped to was it him or someone involved with him? And I'm sure he's probably not lying. I'm sure the campaign didn't have anything to do with it, but it's just funny that the majority of people likely went towards that as their first initial reaction.
Right. So I think that somehow, while that is wrong. No, not tolerated. And in her press conference, you could tell she was not very thrilled about it, and
for sure,
definitely wanted to take action so it would not happen in the future.
Could
Definitely interesting.
It is. Could this also? I do you think it'll be the boost that she needs? I mean, she's been leading in the polls nationally lately, but I mean, it's been a very close polling. In our current polls, we have her in second behind Becker. Do you think this could give her because she has the large endorsements from the people that matter? She has Governor Burgum's endorsement. She has President Trump's endorsement. She has the big name people behind her. Do you think this will be enough to give her that edge to?
Yeah, I mean, she was already pulling ahead. Somebody's mentioning, messaged me saying that the text was misleading in that it was addressing when she withdrew out of the Indy GOP convention, which is correct. But the way that it was worded made it seem like, matter of fact, I received a phone call about it's kind of wrong that somebody sent out a text about her being withdrawn.
For sure.
Even though it's referring back, because the whole point of the text was to make it feel like she was withdrawing out of the election
today,
not just the
GOP convention.
Mm-hmm. And she was not thrilled about it at all,
and rightfully so. That is has a very well potential to be election interference. That's something that's been taken seriously in the past in the U.S. And granted, it might take some time for anything to come of it, if anything does come of it. But it could be potentially a few years down the road something we're talking about here again.
Jean Bovey 0302. I agree. Lisa Olson could get it. They're very tight race over there in District 38. We have a very small data on that, and our data plays well better for the city council races and Minot Park Board, those city races. District 38 goes out a little bit further outside city limits, or not city limits, but
to the western side of the city.
Western side for sure. And so
out to the 83 bypass out west there and past there.
Past that, it does go out beyond city limits.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. We'll find out at 8:05. That's what's so exciting.
I know. I have my page pulled up. I'm hitting refresh.
Yeah.
They haven't. I mean, understandably, they haven't started updating.
It won't start till 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we are moving our schedule around. We actually had someone that was going to be on here soon, but they're going to be pushed a little bit later because I'm sure a lot of people are at different watch parties across the state, which is exciting. Make sure you go and throw us up on the screen, and we'll bring you the results as they come in. 7:30, we'll have Andrew Nias on. It'll be a really interesting to get his perspective on some of these we'll call them shenanigans that have gone on election primary day here in North Dakota.
Without a doubt, it'll be interesting to get his take on all this.
So how have you enjoyed the ad campaigns that have been going on? We've seen this in both campaigns, and somehow, because in some ways it hasn't felt as competitive with the Armstrong and Miller, those have kind of flown to the background. But like there was some nasty ad campaigns that went on in that race, and then there's
the House race too lately, the past couple of weeks especially.
But the House race, they're just going and shooting themselves in the foot right now.
If anything, that's what it feels like more than anything. I mean, it feels like they're either opening the door for something to happen to themselves and let one of the sleeper candidates in to possibly sneak in for a comeback, or I mean,
you think there's a real possibility for that?
Possibility and plausibility are different things. I think it's certainly possible.
Certainly possible. Is it probable? No.
Doubtful. It'll be interesting to see how it does play out in the end. The real interesting thing too, we were talking a little earlier before this we got on the show tonight with Alex Balasz being the state endorsed candidate. He's the one that anyone from the state party is going to typically lean towards, and it's just interesting with him polling so low. What'll they do after the election? Are they going to be full bore behind whoever wins, or are they going to be a little wishy-washy on them at that point?
It'll be interesting to see, especially if a formerly independent candidate, and we're not calling out Becker because there's two of them.
Exactly.
Becker and Mund, both formerly independent candidates. If one of them were to win, it'll be interesting to see how that support shifts in the Republican side.
Yeah, because they couldn't, because of the way the NDGOP bylaws are set up, they couldn't even even if they had attempted to receive the endorsement like Rickenbacker did, the party, the NDGOP, isn't able to endorse them because they ran as an independent within a certain amount of times. Yeah.
Yep.
It's one of those things. So it'll be interesting. I assume the party will be behind them full tilt regardless of who wins, but it'll be an interesting thing to see how it plays out.
8 o'clock, we'll start getting in real data of who is winning what races. We'll let you know all the stats, precincts reporting, give you every bit of detail we can. We might be able to throw a couple graphics on the screen as well. We'll keep it rocking here. All right, so we have, let's work through these state races, and then let's go and look at some of the local races as well.
Definitely.
One that we haven't given a lot of attention to is the Department of Public Instruction, DPI.
Yep.
Jim Bartlett, Jason Heitkamp, Kristen Baszler. Kristen Baszler is the incumbent.
Yep. And she's a Republican.
Yep. And those are just that's just the Republican side right there. And that's actually a nonpartisan position.
Yeah.
And so
but yet the NDGOP is still endorsing candidates for it.
So what typically happens is a party does endorse a candidate for it, though it is nonpartisan. And so the Democrats would have as well. But it's interesting to see how this one is going to play out, because Kristen Baszler's received a lot of headlines that haven't been positive.
Exactly. And she's been the incumbent for quite a while at this point. Yeah.
And in Minot, that doesn't play well. So, but then Jim Bartlett has some very strong views.
He does. Very, very strong views.
And he's endorsed by the Republican Party.
Yeah. Yeah. He is a very strong-minded individual. He is very clear and adamant about what he wants. He is for the extending of Christian faith into schools. I think that's a fair way to put it. He is a conservative. Obviously, he is endorsed by the GOP. And then you look at Jason Heitkamp too. He has a it's a big name in the state of North Dakota. Heitkamp. But if you look at him, he was a Republican in the state legislature for his career in that. And I know that his name will bring some notoriety to him, but at the same time, he's by no means a Democrat in and of himself. He is running on this on his own accord. He is trying to do it from his own stance. And then the fourth candidate, Darko.
Yes, Darko.
Darko is out of Bismarck.
Yeah. So we interviewed Jason Heitkamp and Jim Bartlett. Jim Bartlett was one of the most fascinating interviews that I've done that during the whole election cycle.
That was one of your most
fascinating. I don't vote for whomever you feel like you should have already voted at this point.
It's too late. Yeah.
For most of you.
Yeah.
But he was one of the most fascinating interviews. Just the deep amount of thought that he had put into it. And I get why you're saying he's bringing Christian, but then the other side of
it's much more than just that, by all means.
Yeah. Right. It's definitely more than that. But then also his point is like, there's already religion in the school.
100%.
So the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter. You could say we're not supposed to have this, but it's there a little bit of his point.
Yeah.
That's not fully. You should really listen to it. I couldn't do it justice trying to summarize it, because it was a very fantastic interview. But yeah, definitely an interesting individual. Jean Bovy is going with Kristen Baszler, is definitely going to get it. And probably right. Incumbent, been around, has the support of a lot of key people in the party.
One big thing is name recognition too.
It is, especially in a race like that.
Yeah, she's been around for a long time.
Another key thing is position on the ballot. I can't remember if she was 1, 2, 3, 4.
It makes a difference. It does. For whatever reason, that makes a difference for people.
So
when you're on top, you're number one, right?
Who's going to win the House seat? What's your guess?
My guess?
Yeah.
That's a tough one. I mean, based off our Minot polling, Rick Becker, but I think I would lean towards Fedorchak.
I think Fedorchak's
I think she's probably going to win. Unless, her and Becker fight over themselves so much that, I can't see it happening. I think it'll be Fedorchak with the possibility of Becker sneaking in.
Yeah, Becker still has a chance, but I think that the text that sent out today swayed voters.
I think so too. I think at the very least it gave them. We were talking earlier today about opinion polls that have been taken in the state, and Rick Becker is typically one of the higher unfavorable ratings among House candidates, and I don't know if this, even if he did have nothing to do with it, like he says, I don't know if this would be anything that could that would help his case in that sense.
Yeah. So Fedorchak potentially. I think we were both on the same page there.
We would lean towards her being the one that takes this one.
What about governor?
I mean, could we see a repeat of 2016 when Governor Burgum came out of nowhere and beat the incumbent state attorney general in Wayne Stenjum?
And it's an interesting game because that Tammy Miller fits that mold.
She does. She is, I mean, effectively a recreation of Burgum in his whole campaign style that he had 8 years ago, running off of a lot of the same things, a business outsider who has the experience to lead a business and lead the state like a CEO would lead the state. She is running off a lot of the same ideas that Burgum had. It's going to be a very interesting thing to see if she can play off that well enough. But just looking at the polls that we've had recently, it really looks like Kelly Armstrong's going to be the winner.
Kelly Armstrong. Yeah, he is whooping in the polls right now.
Yeah, ours and any of the statewide ones we've seen in the past couple of weeks.
That is one poll that the city of Minot definitely mirrors.
Yes, which is I don't know if that means anything, but I think it's neat.
We'll find out. All right. So those are some of the key state ones.
Yeah.
Let's go city.
Yep. We can talk about the city council.
All right. Who do you think is going to win?
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. Right now, the way ours is looking, the city council has the three that are running as a team. Becker's
going to city council.
Blessum, Samuelson, and Fuller, all running together. Right now, our polls have them leading. And I mean, if you drive around Minot, you see their signs all over town. I mean, you see billboards with everyone's name on it, but you see those Blessum, Fuller, Samuelson signs all over the place. I do think, though, Dr. Stephen Padragula could have a sneaky chance of coming back just because of the sheer name recognition he has and that incumbent status. I mean, it looks like based on our polls, Minot's leaning towards away from the incumbency, but I think that just adds a lot of people in Minot know that last name because of how long he's been in the city council. And I think he could have a base that could definitely help him with that too. But I think it would, based right now, probably going to be the three of Blessum, Samuelson, and Fuller. But I could very well easily see anyone sneaking in. It's an incredibly close race. But
yeah, it is a close one. Let's see. I don't know. It's hard for me to say that neither of the incumbents will get in.
That's what I'm saying. It just feels like that's not something you often see.
Right.
It's not impossible and it's not unheard of by any stretch of the imagination. It's just to see multiple incumbents lose in the same race. That's something that marks a big change and upheaval year.
Yeah.
And while America and to a lesser extent, North Dakota is obviously going through a lot of that right now. It just feels like it could be time. I mean,
it could be time for all the incumbents to go away.
It could be, or on the same point, we could just be inflating this. And by the end of the night, Burlingame and Padragula will both be back, as well as Baszler and Dan Ruby and everyone else. And Cliff Hovda. I think it's just going to be an interesting play. See where the rest of town really shows up and votes at.
Who do you got for senator
in the come fall?
No, right now between
state senator or how?
I'm teasing you. Okay. It's got to be Kramer, right?
Of course. Unless you're going to get, how many write-in ballots?
A lot. All right, so that's the city council. The other one was the park. I mean, who you got? Park board. I have no idea. That's such a tight race. I honestly have no idea.
That one. So, but based on our polling, it's incredibly tight. I would have to lean towards Cliff Hovda and Chelsea Kirkhammer. Just I see the vast majority of their signs around. I know they have a lot of name recognition. Hovda especially. I think that's where I would have to lean towards our data right now. Who would probably be winning, but it's such a close race that one could flip anyway.
Yeah,
you could have Mance or Hovda fallen behind, or
school board.
Anyway. Talk about tight races.
Yeah, this one's really tight.
Yeah, we have multiple people tied for it. I mean, if you look at name recognition, Lauser and Trudell offer a lot of that. They've been high-profile individuals in the city of Minot for quite a while at this stage. Lauser, I think, he's leading our polls. Most recently, we've had updated. Past that, I know John Kerry's doing well, and Bill Ehrman's signs are all over town. But I know Kaylee Borquin, who she was doing a lot better in our polls earlier. She dropped a little bit, or excuse me, not Kaylee Borquin, Lacey Lautenschlager, excuse me. She was a little bit higher up earlier, and she dropped a little. But it's one of those things. This one could flip anyway. You're going to have 3 candidates. Likely, you're going to have 3 new school board members too.
Wow.
Again, likely.
Interesting.
I think it will be. It's going to be a fun night.
All right. This is unpopular. All right. I might get nasty texts on this one.
Ruh-roh.
Does Dan Ruby lose? I honestly don't think so.
I doubt it. I think he is a well-liked and well-known individual in Minot.
I think he pulls more from the rural base that is in District 38.
I think that's a very fair way to put it. I think he will have a lot of that deeper rural vote come out for him.
It was crazy though to see some of the initial of our exit polls, not official data, our exit polls showing him where he was at. So that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, because based on a lot of the talk and general vibes going around, it seems like if anything, he would be the clear shoe-in to walk away with it, and he still may be once actual results come in. By all means, just going off our exit polling we had, he's coming in second, but he would still be elected House representative.
All right, so we got an exciting rest of the hour. The first half, maybe you had to listen to us more than you wanted to. Sorry, we had to listen to ourselves more than we wanted to too. So we apologize about that. But here soon, we're going to have Andrew Nias on, Executive Director for the NDGOP. And then we're going to move into some of the Democratic races, the Dem NPL that is going down in North Dakota. And we'll have Cheryl Biller on, the Executive Director for the Dem NPL, to give us some insight there. So that will be a great conversation as well. That'll be later on in the 7 o'clock hour, closer to 7:50.
Yep.
So some exciting stuff there. We're excited. I'm pumped, man.
I am too. This I've been looking forward to this for a month plus at this stage.
Yeah.
This is I don't know about you folks watching. Probably not, because I'm weird, but this is like we were talking about.
This is his Super Bowl.
This is like the Super Bowl for us. Yeah. I mean, especially when we'll talk about this with some of the state representatives we have coming on later, but you look at this and you compare it to this fall.
He's bummed because this fall exit polls don't mean anything.
I don't have anything to do all morning come this fall.
Yeah, you guys ask exit polls on president, and that's just not quite as fun in North Dakota.
Yeah, lo and behold, I can probably I will call right now. North Dakota will vote Republican in November.
Yeah, forget about who the candidate is.
Yes,
because I don't even know if we know, but
it's not official yet.
North Dakota is definitely a red state when it comes to that.
Assuming it's Trump or whoever else it would be, assuming it's Trump, North Dakota is voting red this November.
27 minutes in, that's all it took for you to say it.
Yes, that's all.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Only got hey, I'm making a call, folks. There we go.
That's whenever Kyler gets out his flag, that means a call is being made. We're calling an election.
We're calling a race, yes.
Yeah.
But no, that does go back to the point that, it's so much more is up for grabs right now than in the fall. Just based on state historical data. I mean, it could go a lot differently. The state has gone differently in the past, but based on the recent historical trends, North Dakota will probably heavily lean GOP again.
We'll ask Cheryl about it. We'll ask her if this
could be the year. This could be reverse 2010.
I've talked with some of the Democratic candidates. Okay. And there is a feeling that there's momentum that's starting to get rejuvenated.
There's actual money being raised by him too.
You look at the money that's being raised. You look at all that stuff. Like they are not, for so long they've been considered second party, and now with the stuff that goes on in the Republican Party, it's almost like people don't even give them much attention. Mm-hmm. But they're working on things. They'll be back.
They're doing everything in their power. They are very confident in the candidates they have this year.
Right. And I was talking with Trigby Hammer. He's like, one of the things that we're doing different is we're really focusing on who our candidates are and making sure that we get behind them. So that way there can be greater name recognition rather than having one candidate and then the next year having a different candidate and never having the continuity. I mean, you know who Senator Kevin Kramer is. Exactly. He's been around in politics for a long time.
Exactly. Not only the Senate, he was a congressman before that, and before that he was a longtime state legislator.
And if you look at Julie Fedorchak and Rick Becker, you have that in both spots, people that have a lot of name recognition. And that's something that Alex Balasz has struggled with.
Yeah, especially so. Just you see so much more of Fedoracek and Becker just because of their political histories they've had. They've both been around. They've both won multiple elections in the state. You never know how it could end up playing out in that role, but generally seeing how that goes, it'll be an interesting play.
Very good.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it roll.
All right, so we have with us one of the best guests we're going to have this evening. This fantastic.
I'm excited.
Is Executive Director Andrew Nias. Thank you for joining us today.
So glad to be here. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely.
How's the audio? Is it just terrible?
Oh, it's just great.
It's not too bad.
We can hear you great.
Okay.
You broke out a suit and tie for this. It looks like you might even have a vest going on. This is a big day.
It's not that I'm important. It's that I want the people that I work for to look important, and they are. They put themselves out there and they run for office. And of course, I work for Chairwoman Sandy Sanford.
Yep,
So proud to be here. Thanks for having me.
What watch party are you at?
Right now, I'm at the Armstrong watch party. We're at the Gateway to Science in Bismarck, overlooking the river. It is bumping, as the kids say.
Yeah.
I don't know. Lots of people here, great view of the river.
Oh, without a doubt. And I'm sure it's just going to get busier as the night goes on, too.
All right. So you guys had an exciting day with these text messages that got sent out. I know that doesn't affect you personally. It's not your campaign, but this does affect the Republican Party as a whole, I think. Have you guys heard of where they have came from? Because nobody's claiming that they did this.
I haven't. I'm asking around. Please don't start that rumor. No, I'm asking around quite a lot. My first, reaction to seeing it was, "Ooh, that looks illegal." But time will tell. Ultimately, I don't think it's that easy to fool North Dakota voters.
Right.
So, if anything, it got people talking about it, I hope, and got them to go out to the polls. It does affect us. It does affect the party, and it's challenging, say from my position, because we support the endorsed candidates, and when these messages go out, we don't want to give the perception that we're straying from that. We're walking a very straight line. At the same time, we don't want voters confused. So we sent a few messages today, but ultimately, I think very, very few people were fooled by that.
Right. We were talking earlier. I think if anything, it helped Fedoracek's day with her being able to get on news press conferences and stuff like that around the state. But you do bring up an interesting point where you support the endorsed candidates. First off, endorsed candidates, Alex Balasz, we're having him on later on today. We're excited about that. What has that been like? Probably a little bit different direction coming out of convention than what was expected there. What has that been like working with him, getting to know him more and being able to fully support him through this election cycle?
I mean, people have been saying, you've met him, the people who meet him have the same things to say invariably across the state. Please stay in North Dakota politics. We need people with integrity. I mean, the man he's a real patriot. He's a veteran. He's actually laced up and served the country, served us abroad, served us at the border. He knows about how the federal government operates and federal budgets. So he's been a leader. He's served the country. That's not new to him, but he's an unknown for many North Dakotans. And so that's I think the thrust of it is, hey, we like you. We want to be sure that you are that we can trust you to run to represent North Dakota. But please stick around. We want you.
Right.
Without a doubt.
So along those lines, first off, we hope that Alex Balasz does great. And I know that you especially hope that, him being the endorsed candidate. But the Republican Party this year is in a very it's unique position. I don't know that it's been in this position in the Indy GOP in a while, where you have Balasz, the endorsed candidate. He's not polling great. Okay. But what's interesting is you have two candidates that were formerly independent that could not be endorsed by the party. And so one of those candidates potentially could win this primary. And then the Indy GOP is in a unique position where suddenly you guys are going to be throwing support behind them. Would they get your guys' full support? How would that go forward?
Yeah. So the North Dakota Republican Party is a bottom-up organization. We believe in democracy, and you know what I mean by democracy. Like, sometimes people get picky about that. I know we have a constitutional republic, but we believe in democracy. We are bottom-up, and so instead of deciding, say, from the chairwoman's seat or from the executive committee who we're going to endorse, we have a convention, and the convention is unconventional, as you guys know, but the convention endorsed Alex Balasz. Awesome. I mean, it's been great. He's highly competent. He's just an outstanding candidate. But below that are the voters in the primary, and by below that, I mean below that in terms of it's more distributed, but is of greater weight and importance to us. So we will honor, of course, the result of the primary, whatever that is, and walk with, integrity and impartiality to support that candidate.
Very good. Very good. Well, first off, thank you so much for jumping on, because it's been great to see you once again. We had a fantastic podcast. I think we need to do one again here before general election. It was a great time. Maybe we'll have to go down some of those books that you mentioned.
Yes. Oh man, did I say those on air? Yes. So love to talk with you again. It's always a pleasure. And let's do it. Let's do it before the convention. You had me so nervous, Jonathan. You had me nervous because you didn't publish. I talked all about the convention. I hope that ages well.
Yeah.
A couple weeks later.
I had you nervous.
You're airing. A lot of things changed in those 2 weeks. A lot of things.
It was a busy time. It was crazy, man. But it was a great interview. Yeah. Very, very cool. So we'll have to do it again. Thank you for jumping on this. I hope you have the best of time. Are you staying the whole day or whole evening at Armstrong? Or are you?
I'll probably hang on to the bitter end, and as long as you guys do. Give me a call if you want to talk some more. And I know you'll be talking to the chairwoman pretty soon.
Yeah. We'll be following you on Twitter on the tracking Andrew NyHus profile. I'm sure there's one out there. You're just that great. So
must be NyHus.
Nice. Yes, I'm probably not saying it right.
That must be NyHus. All right.
Yeah. Very good. All right. Guys. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Cheers.
Fantastic interview with Andrew Nias there, Chair, with the ND GOP. Did a fantastic job. He's hanging out with Congressman Kelly Armstrong and his whole crew down.
What a time that must be. That looked like fun there. Why aren't we there?
Did we get invited?
Yeah. There's a press release. You can be there. Yeah. Why don't we go there?
We should have showed up, right?
There's watch parties going on all across North Dakota, and we're joining as many of them as we can.
I hope so.
With the people that we're interviewing.
I hope
almost everybody that will be jumping on today will be jumping on from their watch party.
Yeah.
It's kind of a real experience as we get to kind of take a peek around the room, see what's happening.
See the background, see who all's there, see the buzz, if it's all exciting or how it's playing out, or if they had to run into a side room or something so they could talk to us. It's
hopefully not. We want the real experience.
Exactly. We want it all, folks.
So, but it was interesting what he said, because that was some of the questions, and we'll talk with Sandy Sanford about it as well. Chairwoman Sanford. But full support behind the endorsed candidate. Doesn't matter who it is.
That's kind of what I expected to hear
from the primary, not the endorsed candidate.
Yes, exactly. I pretty much expected to hear that from the party. It's just
still awkward.
It is. It's an interest because both of them had, Becker for sure, and probably Mund, had she been able to attempt to receive the nomination, probably would have got in sooner, I would like to imagine. But both of them would have been vying for the nomination at the NDGOP convention at that point. Like, Becker tried to get his supporters to cast their votes in his way, and even though they couldn't, so that's why so much of the ensuing.
There's been a lot that's been said about that, and I guess we need to change our background. We're not live with Andrew Nias anymore.
Yeah, he's
nice.
Gone now.
But there's been a lot that's been said, and sadly, I had to be out of town that week. and I wasn't there.
Worst part, I was in Fargo that weekend.
And you weren't there.
I was not.
That's a crime.
It is.
But we'll forgive you this time.
We weren't collaborating yet at that point.
It's true. So, but I don't know that did he specifically tell them to spoil their ballots? Because I was told that he didn't.
I don't think he specifically told them to. I think it was more of a,
because it was presented that way that he told him to.
Yeah, it was definitely. I think it was more of he didn't tell them not to. Instead of explicitly telling them not to, he just let them do it. And I think that's where so much of that narrative comes from, where Rick Becker unfortunately gets that negative press sometimes. And I think a lot of it just stems from him at the convention. I mean, so much of it has to circle back. And if you can with Becker, I want to see how, I mean, I would like to hear it from him.
If I get in trouble for the things I didn't do.
Exactly. You almost, if that is the case, it's unfortunate that so much of that is out there like that. But regardless, it did happen one way or the other, whoever instructed them or did not.
I don't think he ever said,
go out and vote for me.
Support Julie. Just to get to this, just support Julie. I don't think he said that.
No.
But I do think he may have said something about supporting Balasz. That's speculation. I don't have that in front of me.
We're not always experts, folks. Please don't expect us to know everything, because I certainly do not.
But interesting enough, next guest is coming on in 10 minutes or so. Going to be very interesting to talk with Cheryl Biller about the direction of the Democratic Party as we head through this primary day and into the general election, where things are going to heat up for them.
It is. They have a few elections that are contested today, but the biggest one is the House House race for them. So obviously Trygve Hammer, who you interviewed, is on the ballot. He is the endorsed candidate. He's the one been raising most of the money. He's the one that we have polling with actually some people voting for him. He's most likely, if he doesn't win, I'd be shocked. But he is running against
in the primary.
In the primary, yes. But he does have a primary opponent, one Roland Reimers.
This guy went and commented on Trygve Hammer's video that we did, the interview that we did with Trygve. He's like, why didn't you interview me too? Guess I should have.
Maybe, but you know, if not for this race, it'd be interesting to interview him just to get his sheer take on experience of everything he's been through, because Roland Reimers has been around North Dakota politics for a good 30 plus years. One really interesting story I have with him, back in 1996, Bill Clinton was running for re-election. He was going up against what would eventually be Bob Dole and Ross Perot for a second time in the general. However, during presidential primary season that year, Bill Clinton, having no opponents, didn't register to be on the primary ballot in the state of North Dakota.
Come on, Bill.
I know, by the required time. So that led to, long story short, Roland Reimers winning the 1996 North Dakota Democrat primary. And so he actually would have gotten some, not endorsements, but delegates that way to the convention party, which is just an amazing thing to see. So he has been around for a long time. He has done his fair part. He has been an independent. He's been a libertarian. He's been a Democrat. He has been a little of everything. And also, fun note on him, he is concurrently running for the Grand Forks School Board this year, as well as U.S. House.
Okay. So you say that almost like that's a bad thing.
No, not at all. It's
because
it's perfectly legal.
So but should it be accepted? Because we have these nonpartisan positions such as city council, school board,
mayor, park board.
Yeah, a lot of those city positions, and we're seeing a rise in situations like that, where we have people at the state level that are running for these city positions.
Without a doubt.
Is this good?
Personally,
we're getting real.
Yes. My opinion, this is my opinion, not endorsed by the Dakotan.
That's the truth.
I think that the nonpartisan principles associated with city politics is something that we should uphold the best we can. I think it is something that should be, you shouldn't have party politics associated with the city government. I think that can create divisions. I think it can create issues.
Where does that end? Because does that mean that if you're involved in a district, then you cannot be involved in city politics?
And see, in a place like North Dakota, that's so hard to do too, because we have so few people and even fewer people that want to be active in politics.
Right.
It's a fine line to cross. Lisa Olson, city councilwoman's running for the Republican seat. The three city councilmen running together, bless them, Fuller, Samuelson are running as conservatives. They're not saying they're Republicans, but I mean, it's the next thing to it.
Right. And you go and you look, I believe when I was doing some research for something, I believe that Dr. Padregula is part of a district, a Republican or a Democratic, it don't matter.
Yeah.
But part of those districts as a treasurer.
Sure.
Okay.
That just adds.
Is that something that should be done?
I'm not a fan of it. I just don't know how we would get rid of it.
But yeah, I don't see how you can have anybody doing much, because it's those that are the most passionate.
That's the thing.
It does bring an interesting thing, though.
It's something that we need to think of. It's something that we have to at least be aware of where they stand, even though they might say they're nonpartisan and they will vote in the best interest of the city. And granted, the city of Minot leans heavily conservative more than not.
City council right now doesn't.
Not. It doesn't feel like it, does it?
I mean, we're not going to go through and
we don't
go
need
through all
to go
of them
for voting records, but
like it's not overly liberal, but it's not like it's
strict, hardcore,
skewed, hardcore conservative.
No,
it's fairly balanced.
It does. It feels. I don't know if it's balanced, but it feels like it definitely isn't a conservative feeling city council.
Yeah. It's always interesting to see how those votes go down.
No, for sure. And that's going to be a close election. It's going to be a tight one.
Cheryl Biller's coming up, and then we're going to take a short break after her, and we are going to come back and have some results to post.
8:00. I just refreshed. They're not doing it yet, but it's not 8:00.
Yeah, it's 8:00 is when they that's the beginning of the time when results can be posted.
Yeah.
So we are looking forward to that. All right. So on the we'll go easy on you. What were you going to say?
I was just going to lead into, we talked about a little bit about Roland Reimers, Trigby Hammer.
Yeah.
I was just going to mention also the big Democrat that they have running for governor right now is Merrill Peepcorn. He is a state senator out of Fargo. He's been a long time state senator. They are, I know, like we've mentioned before with Trigby Hammer, the Democrats are very high on him. They are very fond of what he does. He's been a longtime statesman out of Fargo. It's going to be an interesting thing to see how we generally assume, but it'll be interesting to see how it'll play out come fall. I am very interested to hear the takes from Cheryl on how she thinks the party's been able to build over this last decade and how they're going to be able to transition into the next decade, and if they can actually take some seats, and if they could, which ones.
So yeah, you left off an important race though.
I did.
Yeah. Katrina Christensen,
the senator.
She's joining us later today.
I know. I'm excited to speak with her. This is going to be fun because 2 years ago she did run against John Hoeven as the Democrat candidate. She
beat Rick Becker that year.
Did. Yep. She came in second, 20-some%. I think Becker had like 18%. And I mean, John Hoeven got over 50%. But if you look back at John Hoeven's election history from 2000 on, that is a minute amount compared to what he normally has gotten over his governor races and prior Senate races. So it's interesting to see. I mean, it leads back 2 years ago where the incumbent, there was already some frustration with incumbencies in North Dakota. But to look at Katrina Christensen, she is a professor at, is it Jamestown State University?
Yeah.
Yep. She is an incredibly smart woman. She has political experience now. She ran 2 years ago. I know she has a good team.
Is it Jamestown State?
Or Jamestown College.
The University of Jamestown?
University of Jamestown. Yeah, the Jimmies.
Yeah, I think it's University of Jamestown.
No, you're definitely right. It's the University of Jamestown, excuse me. But no, she is a professor out there. She has a great team behind her. And like we were talking, the Democrats have been raising money in North Dakota this year.
Yeah, that's something we're going to bring up. It's interesting to watch. I believe specifically in that race, they've raised a lot of money in that race, even comparative to what the competition has raised.
Yeah.
And it's been a lot of small money donors.
That's the thing. It's a lot of it is those small donor amounts where they're coming from people like us, me and you, that all get out there and vote, $5, $10, $20.
It didn't come from me.
Well, not us. Like I said, like us. I didn't.
Okay.
I don't contribute money to candidates. I'm broke.
Yeah.
But no, aside from that, that's where a lot of it stemmed from. And Kevin Kramer working against her. He has a very high political dollar chest working back from his years as a senator and prior to that congressman that he's been able to effectively just build up. So much happened in 2018, though, where he did have to spend a lot working against us, then Senator Heidi Heitkamp, for him to win that election. But ever since then, the last 6 years, he's effectively been able just to bankroll any of the funds he's gotten into his treasury. And so it's going to be, I fully expect to see a lot of ads this fall for all of the races.
Is it going to be the negative campaigning that we've seen?
I hope not. I don't like that.
Can politics be done any other way?
I don't think today it can. And that's the disappointing thing.
That's a bummer.
It is. But it is what it is. I'm excited to see how it plays out. I think there is a really strong chance that the Democrats could make some kind of noise in the state. And I'm not sure if they'll win, but I think, the past few election cycles, they haven't trended above, 25, 30% in the vote very often. It'll be interesting to see how they can improve on that.
Absolutely. Well, we're excited. Our next guest is going to be joining us here, Cheryl Biller, Executive Director of the DemNPL. And working this up here.
We got it there.
Thank you for joining us today, Cheryl.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. So first off, want to ask you, how has the primary races gone so far for you guys? I know that it's probably been pretty busy with the different things going on. How has it gone so far for you guys?
Good. Our candidates are excited, and they are, some of them are out door knocking already. They are busy getting fundraising plans in place and already raising money. So busy, but super exciting. We've got a lot of young candidates, and their energy is amazing. We've got a few kind of senior candidates who bring some experience to their respective tickets. And so for me, this is my first election to be this deep in it, and I'm having fun.
Good. Awesome. One thing that I talked about with Triggy Hammer was how there's been adjustment perhaps made over the last couple of years where there's been a focus on continuity in candidates to help build that brand name recognition for the different races. Are you guys starting to see the effects of that in your Senate races and in the House of Representatives races?
Yeah, I think that's fair. When you've seen a candidate's name on a ballot before and then they show up again, you have some idea of who they are, right? And so you don't have to reinvent everything or start all over from scratch. And I think it also demonstrates the commitment that our candidates have to making North Dakota a better place to live.
Mm-hmm. So Cheryl, looking back past 15 years for the Democratic Party, it's been a lot of reshaping that's happened, especially in the last 2 to 4 years. Going from where you were at maybe 8 years ago to where you're going to be 8 years from now, how do you think you can get back to really locking in some of those key races in the state and actually getting over that hump that's been created, unfortunately? And how do you think you can get back to really winning those elections?
Some of it is that commitment of candidates, the ones who are who understand that maybe the race they're running this year isn't the race that's going to get them to the election, to get them elected, that they're running for a future race. That's part of this game, right? You don't always win when you first get started, especially if you're new to the state or a new candidate. So we've got candidates who understand that and who are really committed to wanting to do good work for North Dakota. Some of it is just the party building that we've been doing for the last year and a half, really trying to equip our local leaders with the tools that they need and help them understand what their role is in all of this as well.
So you're really trying to reinvigorate the grassroots movement in the state then?
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect.
One thing, though, that has been interesting, and I think it was highlighted by Katrina Christensen, was the amount of fundraising that was going on. It seems like there's been a huge boost that has happened so far into the year for you guys, and a lot of small money donations, which shows that there's a lot of people interested in what you guys have going on, which is kind of exciting. Have you guys seen a lot of those results coming in? How has that kind of affected maybe your perspective of how these races are going to play out, not necessarily today, but especially in the general election coming up in November?
Well, I think we're building that grassroots base of support, right? People who
Yeah.
are demonstrating commitment, $5 and $10 and $25 at a time to say these candidates have the kind of work ethic, the kind of values, the kind of leadership that we're looking for. So definitely seeing the success there. Boys on all of our candidates.
So what are the races that you think on the Democratic side that we should pay attention the most to, that you guys are anticipating, whether it is today in the primary? I know that the primary works a little bit different for you guys than the Republican side. We just talked to Andrew Nias on the Republican side. They have all these small races that are very competitive. You guys get behind your candidates a little bit differently, a little bit stronger, some might say. And so what are some of the races that we should pay attention to, whether today or whether in the general election that you would focus on?
Honestly, the races I'm paying attention to today are on the Republican side. I'm
Yeah.
anxious to know who our competitors are going to be after today.
Who do you want to be your competitor?
Yeah, I honestly, it doesn't matter. Our candidates have this level of commitment. We alongside, I think, really honestly, most North Dakotans are really tired of the negative campaigning and the mudslinging. And what I'm seeing from our candidates is a sense of one, oh my gosh, it'll be great to have that kind of done after tomorrow. And also an opportunity then to focus on the candidate who will be their opponent so that they can not go sling more mud with them, but how can we point out the differences? How can we, I'm very interested to see if the very, very extreme Republican candidates are the ones who carry the day, or if North Dakotans are a little weary of that extremism and decide that maybe they want to rein that in a little bit. In either case, our candidates are just excited to find out who they need to start going toe-to-toe with.
Yeah, and there's been, talking about the campaigning practices, there's been some mysterious texts, as was reported by the Inform, of texts that were sent out urging Democrats to vote for Rick Becker, I believe it was, which is really interesting.
Right.
Obviously, Adam Goldwin, he went and said that, it's not true. Trick Me Hammer's like, no, that's not what's going on. But what's up with all these? Did you guys ever find the source on that? What's up with all these text messaging scams that are going on in these campaigns?
Well, somebody's sure spending a lot of money in the last couple of days to make something happen. And we've seen some interesting signs showing up at polling places that are not really supposed to be there. So, it's just a lot of negativity.
Is that a concern to you guys, though? Is that a concern about anything on the Democratic side of how results play?
No, I really don't think so. It didn't take my people long to figure out that these were scams.
Yeah, sure, right.
There was an initial, oh my goodness, and that was like, oh yeah. This is more of the same. So yeah.
I understand that overall there is a concern because it should not be part of the game that is politics.
Yeah,
for sure. But very good. Well, appreciate you joining us today. It's interesting to get more perspective to today and to the general election. So thanks for coming on. Sometime we'll have to do a podcast together or something to learn more.
I would enjoy that very much. I appreciate you guys trying to chat with all of us. It's good for the voters to hear from all of us.
100%. We love to get all sides on the aspect on this.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a great rest of your night.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. There we go, man.
What'd you do? Time.
It's almost time.
My computer off. I didn't. We're okay.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
That would have been a little. Well, we're about to take a break, so it would have been. Not the worst case.
Let's do that. Let's go ahead, take a break. We got somebody joining us.
Coming up quick. We're gonna have some more guests coming on.
Accepted chunk or pack your trunk says. Any personal opinions on Steve Patrick? I interviewed the guy.
You did.
Okay.
Just came out end of the last week.
He's a good man.
Incredibly knowledgeable.
Yeah, very knowledgeable. Very informed. One thing that I like, and I believe I told him, if I didn't tell him, I told Steve Burlingham, they have the ability to vote based off of what they feel is best, even though it might not always align with their personal beliefs. and I'm not talking about their core principles, because that's you
all
always want somebody to vote for their core principles, whether you agree with them or not.
Yep.
You don't want them to go against those. But there are things in life where you're like, yeah, I don't fully agree with that. But if that's what you guys feel, if that's what the public feels is best, I will vote because the public wants this.
Because this is a representative democracy, or
Yeah.
excuse me, it's a constitutional republic. It's a representative democracy. Yes, I was on the right track there. And we elect those people to make those votes for us.
So I think that's something that I really like about Dr. Pajagula. But we're going to go to break real fast. Hopefully we come back with some results. And if nothing else, very soon we will come back with Jared Hendricks.
Yes. Yep.
Get some insights into what he's looking at on this busy Tuesday.
It's going to be interesting. Stay tuned. Don't touch the mouse. Don't click away. We're going to be right back. We'll have the data for you coming up real fast.
All right. We'll be back in like 3 minutes.
Perfect.
We came back fast because results are coming in.
We had to hustle on back. All right,
let's go, Kyler.
We've got some fun stuff to report here. I'm not getting my flag. I just got to move it a little bit here. So starting out, we're going to go into the representative race, the congressional race here in the state. So starting out, looks like our very first returns are coming in right now. Right now, very first ones coming in has Julie Fedoracek in the lead. There's a total of 7,140 votes counted. Julie Fedoracek is currently leading with 44.5%. Coming in second is Rick Becker at 30.5%. Third is Cara Mund at 17.9%. Alexander Balasz right now is in fourth at 5.8%. And then under 1% is Charlotte Moore and the write-ins. So as of right now, Julie Fedoracek is very early on starting to walk away with it.
Precincts reporting that 7.79% reporting. 30 have fully reported. 55 are partially, and we have a total of 385. So there's still 300 precincts out there that we're waiting on. Voter turnout, very low at this point, but of course it's early. So
still early.
Results were updated right at 8 o'clock, man.
Yep.
Right on the hour. So good job on the Secretary of State getting that out.
Yeah, they were
right on the hour.
Without a doubt. Moving on to the next big one is the governor race between Kelly Armstrong and Tammy Miller. So starting out right now, Kelly Armstrong is leading. He is at about 2/3 of the vote, 67.25%. He has over 4,800 votes cast for him. And right now that leaves Tammy Miller in second at about just under 33% at 32.4%. So that one's kind of looking like how we expected it to look so far as well. One other interesting one that they have results on so far as well is the state superintendent race, which is that 4-way race for
what's that looking like?
Nonpartisan thing we were talking about. Yeah, right now. So like our friend John Bovey was saying, Kristen Baszler is going out to a commanding lead to start. She has 55.5% of the vote right now. Coming up in second is Jason Heitkamp. He's at about 24%. Following him in third is Jim Bartlett at about 16.5%. And then Darko Dragonich is at in fourth at about 2 3/4, 2.7.
Okay. So the people that are showing up at the Republican endorsement convention are not always consistent with the feelings of the party as a whole, is what we're saying.
Without a doubt. I think that's showing up pretty clearly, with the exception maybe of the governor's race. Otherwise, it's looking heavily like a lot of times you have, well, when you have people that go to the conventions, those are going to be a lot of the people that are most frequently going out to these events. They are active in their local politics. They're active in their local districts and all of the local things. So then they become delegates and they go to Fargo or wherever the convention's held at. And it can a lot of times lead to some skewing of what the party as a whole is. And there are so many people in the state of North Dakota that do identify as Republicans, and so many of them that end up in the convention. Just it's hard to have that large of a base represented in such a small space. So it's interesting to see it play out live right here. Kristen Baszler, like we were talking, she's been around for a long time. She does have a lot of experience with it. And she is at 56.4% of the vote. We had a little bit more just come in now. So yeah, we're up to about a little over 9,000 of the votes in right now. Still at 7,100 for the governor and congressional races, but it's starting to come in, folks. We're going to get those information out to you as soon as we get the city elections in. As of right now, Minot districts haven't started reporting. As soon as we get those, I am hitting refresh pretty frequently here. As soon as we get those in, I'll start yelling at them or yelling at you guys. Hopefully we won't be in an interview during that, but I will start waving my flag or something.
If you're with Jared, wave your flag. We want to hear it.
I will start yelling. Don't worry. It'll be exciting because this is what we're here for. We're going to get this out.
Somebody asked if there's any word on those mass texts saying Julie Fedorchak dropped out. Other than obviously there's a press conference that Julie Fedorchak held. We talked about this earlier in the stream.
We talked to Andrew Nias,
and we talked about with Nias and
Cheryl as well with
Biller.
The Democrats. Yep.
Nobody's excited about it. It's just not fair. It's not something that should be going on. And whoever's doing it just needs to stop because nobody knows who's doing it. So whoever you are, please stop.
No one's taking the blame for it, of course, because it's legal. Little more votes just came in, got about another 1,200 votes in. Fedorchak's still at 44%. Miller at Armstrong up to 68%. Miller at 31% now. So yeah, this is coming to you live, folks. I'm giving it to you I'm telling it to you as soon as I hear it.
So, all right. And this is interesting. So we have Barnes County that's fully reported for the well, it should be across the state, but I'm talking about in the Fedorchak race because it's interesting to see. Obviously, we saw Becker be very popular in Minot.
Yes.
So that's something that we'll be looking at too, are the counties. But right now, what we're going to do is we're actually going to add some. There's interview Jared Hendricks. I was going to say what some would say about you, what others would say about you, and what I say about you, but I figured I'd be safer just queuing you in.
Welcome.
Yeah, good to be here. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah,
of course.
Sorry about the technical difficulties on our end, but thank you for joining us. So right now, obviously, we're starting to see some results come in. Fedorchak's out to an early lead. We were just going through the counties, kind of looking at how that breakdown happened. But it's going to be an exciting day. We've already seen some text messages go out. What's your thoughts on today so far?
Well, and I actually here at an event talking to people, so I haven't even seen any of those initial results that you have.
Initial results. We'll give them to you, man.
if you're ready here.
In that race specifically, we'll give them to you.
Yeah. So
Fedorchak's, yeah, go ahead, Kyler.
all right. Yeah, I got her pulled up. Fedorchak right now, the latest one to report, and she's at 44.5%. Coming in second, Rick Becker at 31.5. Cara Mund right now in fourth at 17.25. Alexander Balasz in fourth at 5.7, and then Charlotte Moore at just under 1%.
Gotcha. Yeah. And how much is reporting?
Have about 8,100 votes in so far. That is just under 2% of the statewide turnout.
10%, 9.8% precincts reporting.
Yeah. We have 38 precincts fully reported and 58 partially out of 385.
Sure. And which counties are those?
That's what we were just going through.
Yeah, we were just starting to look into that.
So we don't have those off the top of our heads. We got Barnes,
McHenry,
Botno,
Griggs,
partially, Burke,
and Nelson.
I got
Sure.
more towns than you, man.
Yeah, I don't. My map isn't.
Yeah.
As good.
Or Grand Forks is in.
Yeah.
Griggs. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, your take on that?
Jared?
Sure. And sorry guys, I'm here at an event, so I walked
No, we
away
love it.
Yeah.
where it's loud, so we're like live on location here.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's way too early to tell a whole lot. I mean, if those percentages stay in that range, I don't know that it would be extremely surprising. But I think that's way too early to tell. I mean, that could be, a small enough number of precincts and counties that it could be very distorted.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly we all knew that Becker and Fedorchak were going to be the top two candidates coming. And I've kind of thought all along that Cara Mund would outperform her poll numbers pretty significantly, which looks like that might be the case. I think Alex Balasz will, I'm not going to say underperform, but I don't think he's going to gain a very large number of undecideds. But yeah, as far as the thoughts on today, I mean, I think just going to have to look at the overall turnout, and it always comes down to that. Is it one side getting their people to show up or not? And when you're dealing with turnout, especially if you're dealing with a situation where, just to simplify it, where you have maybe a conservative challenger, a more established type candidate, does the low turnout help one side or the other? There's the one school of thought that low turnout tends to help the candidate that has the most enthusiasm. There's the other point of view, especially in a primary, that sometimes that tends to be your more regular type voters that might be more in line with your more established candidate.
Yeah.
So a lower turnout might actually go the other way. I think it just totally depends on the circumstances of the election. But yeah, those numbers way too early to tell a whole lot. Definitely come turnout.
What counties should we pay attention to in this race, do you feel?
Well, I think, you always got to pay attention to the big ones, of course. Cass and Burleigh, Grand Forks, Ward County. I think especially because of the dynamics of not only the congressional race, but the governor's race, where I suspect Tammy Miller's largest percentage of support will come from Cass County and out east. I could be wrong, but that seems likely. And so, it's a question of, although I think Kelly's going to win pretty handedly, even if that's statewide, a landslide for Kelly, let's say it is she going to still do extremely well in Cass County? And she could conceivably even win Cass County and still lose the state. So yeah, I want to look at that dynamic of East versus West.
No, without a doubt. It'd be a similar dynamic to when Cara Mund ran as an independent 2 years ago and won Cass County over Kelly Armstrong. There's a lot of that potential vote out there for him. And right now, Kelly Armstrong is leading over Tammy Miller 68% to 31%. So it's a long, like you said, it's so much longer to go tonight.
Yeah. But that percentage again wouldn't surprise me too much. I don't know. You can look down and see what the ballot measure, the age limits ballot measure, if there's results on that as well.
Yeah, we'll look at that. Want to pull that up?
I am working on it now.
So a question for you. What were your thoughts on the text messages that were sent out today?
Well, I didn't think about it a whole lot. I mean, there's been, this campaign has been riddled with some pretty nefarious tactics all along. And those tactics, and of course, people will say I'm biased, whatever. I think it's pretty well known that I support Rick. People can say I'm biased, and that's fine. But I do think that the negative attacks and the sort of salaciousness of the lies have been grossly distorted on one side. In fact, I'm not really aware of any lies from Rick's campaign. He may not agree with some of the way things have been presented, but Brighter Future Alliance has been very much muddying the waters from the very beginning of this campaign. And so that's been very disappointing to see, not surprising. People will do anything for power. But I don't know how that ties into this or to say that, could this be, a part of that series of actions, or could this be something that is just a reaction because people are so desperate on one side or the other? I mean, I have no clue.
Do you think Rick's campaign had anything to do with it? I know they said that they didn't do it, but a outlet or anything like that had anything to do with it?
That whose campaign?
Anything tied to Becker's campaign had anything to do with those texts?
I have no idea, but I'd be pretty shocked if that was the case.
Yeah, that's fair. So looking at that congressional candidate age limit race coming in right now, there's about 12,000 votes in. We have 43 precincts fully reporting. It's right now, yes is at 62%, no is at 37%. So it's hanging pretty.
You can
well.
Smile about that, Jay.
Yeah.
It's all right. You can put a smile on. No, he's not gonna smile.
You tried.
Yeah, looking good. Our polling showed that we were in a very strong position, but I've always believed that the polling would be a little bit inflated for two reasons. One, just because North Dakotans are it's very, very good critical thinkers. I think when they get there, when they think about an idea initially, they think when they get there, they read the ballot, they might think a different way. But also on top of that, it's very difficult to poll. It's a primary electorate. I think if it was on the ballot in November, I think the percentage would actually be a lot more. But again, we're looking at very early numbers. That percentage could go up or it could go down.
Yeah. You even have 4 votes.
Oh, okay.
So you're doing good too.
Yeah.
Good job on that. Somebody asked our current guest is, for some reason, our thing is not showing properly. It is Jared Hendricks. So question for you though, what races should we be paying attention? We know the statewide ones. We're looking at those closely, right? But what are some of those races across North Dakota today in the legislative districts that we should be paying attention to?
Sure. Yeah. So for legislative races, I could go down the whole list if you want me to. We're looking.
We have the list.
Okay. Well, we're looking. Yeah. If you want to start numerically, District 2 would be the first race. Very interesting dynamic there. You have an open state Senate seat. You have 2, I think, pretty strong candidates, honestly. I'm a little biased there because, full disclosure, one of them is a client of mine. But I do think both candidates are strong. I think it could be a close race. And it's a very interesting dynamic there because you have somebody who's spent 35 years in the energy industry but is a political outsider versus someone who has also been in and around energy interests, let's just say, but has been in and around state government, has been a lobbyist. So you really have a true sort of outsider versus insider situation there. So that'd be very interesting to see, where that electorate lands. Very contested House race in that district as well. You have 5 candidates going for 2 spots. Yeah. So yeah, that's a very that'll be a very good sort of bellwether district to look at. Yeah, go down the list. District 6. I haven't been on the ground up there. I honestly don't have a very good. Maybe get somebody else on that have better perspective on District 6. But interesting situation. You have some incumbent legislators that are being challenged by others who are endorsed by the local party.
We're seeing this a lot this year.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, there's a lot of that. District 8 is definitely going to be one of the high-profile races, just because of the fact that you have, again, situation where you have endorsed candidates are being challenged. The endorsed candidates are the incumbents in this case, and the state Senate candidate, Senator Jeff Magrum, is not being challenged, but the 2 House candidates are. And one of those House candidates, of course, as many know, has been involved in a political action committee that's raised and spent money in a lot of other districts. And so I think there's all kinds of ways that activity could bleed into interest in this race.
Give us one more race, and then we'll let you go to enjoy your party that you're at, that I'm sure we're keeping you from.
Yeah, sure. Okay. One of the big race is District 30 in Bismarck.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
That's a race where you have the endorsed candidates from the local district party, including one of the House candidates, actually the district chair of that district. They were all unanimously endorsed, and they are running against, I would say, some of the more powerful entrenched legislators in the state. And so very, it's a very suburban, southern Bismarck district, very affluent areas, includes University of Mary and some of the areas around there. So that's going to be it's a very Republican district, let's just say. And so very good, another bellwether for where things are at in the party.
Without a doubt.
Very interesting. Well, we'll have you back on after 9 o'clock to kind of look at these results, as we have a lot more of them in, kind of see how the night's going. But what watch party are you at?
Oh, just a little group here out in Fargo, little get together.
Awesome. Well, enjoy it, man.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Yep.
There we go, man.
Talk with Jared there.
It was
incredibly knowledgeable guy. Jared Hendricks is there. That's incredible.
Oh, he is.
If we want to quickly, we got a few more votes that have
talk about it
on in. Still don't have anything reporting from Minot yet, but we have a little bit of an update. I mean, it's still pretty all similar to where we were at. But Julie Fedorchak's at 44%, Rick Becker 31%, Cara Mund 18.4%, Alex Balasz 5.3%, Charlotte Moore is at 1%, and then write-ins are sitting at 0.12%.
Write-ins win the day.
You betcha. Going down to that governor race right now, Kelly Armstrong's up to 68%. Tammy Miller coming in at 31.5%. And then that superintendent race still has Kristen Baszler out ahead. She is at 56.1%. Jason Heitkamp coming in at second at 23%.
What are the precincts reporting?
We have 43 fully reporting, 101 partially.
And a lot not reported.
Yes. Yep. That is a couple.
There's 385 total.
So yeah, we have a couple hundred that have still yet to even come in.
There you go.
It's trickling in slowly but surely. Then again, that congressional candidate age limit is still at 62-37.
Yeah, it's interesting, as Jared was saying, some of the local races that are going on across the district or the state. Those are important races, and like you said, they kind of give the tune of what's going to happen.
Yep. It's a little taste test of what the state as a whole is going to go towards, and possibly other areas too. It's a good weather testing weather strip area kind of deal of how it's going to play out. And like you said, with those hard Republican districts, it will be interesting to see if they do tend to go towards the candidate that's endorsed, or if they're going towards the outsider. It's an interesting play. It really is.
Definitely interesting. We have some exciting guests coming on the remainder of this hour. Looking forward to it. Obviously, it was great to check in with Jared Hendricks. And we're going to keep you updated as results come in. Really looking forward to those city results from Minot.
As soon as they get them in, I will start waving my flag and yelling. It'll be
You're going to wave your flag, but that only happens when you call.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I can't do that.
Yeah, don't mess this up, man.
I'll get all excited. You'll notice.
No all right. So looking forward to that. Okay.
We're going to have some fun candidates on later. We're going to have the candidates on later. That's going to be really exciting.
That's our goal.
Yep. And then hopefully, post 9 o'clock, we'll have some of those leading local city council candidates that'll be hopefully be able to talk to us tonight. That'll be exciting. And those still aren't coming in yet, but hopefully it won't be too long till Minot starts reporting in. I think we have a lot more of those smaller counties that have been coming forward so far. But
Cass has started though.
Has it started to report in? Cass has now? Okay.
I'm fairly certain that it's small, but Cass has started.
Let me see. Yep, they are starting to 566 votes counted out of Cass County so far.
Maybe that's all they got.
If we're interested, Julie Fedorchak coming in first at 46, Cara Mund in second at 25, and then Rick Becker in third at 23.
Thomas the Tank asks the question of the day. How late until all races are called? This is the question we all want to know the answer to, and I'm afraid we might be here for a while.
We will stick around at least till 10. We'll
At
see.
least till 10.
We'll see how we're feeling. We might go a little bit over if something's real close and we think we might have a chance to get it called the night. Otherwise,
If our generator turns off, we might have to leave.
yeah, we'll have to. If all of a sudden it just goes black and you lose us, you'll understand why.
We have electric. One race that it looks like we could probably call already. It seems like they're running away with it. Is Kevin Kramer?
Yeah, I think also we could call probably the Katrina Christensen race too.
Yeah,
I think, folks,
he's pulling the flag out.
We have races to call. We are going to say Katrina Christensen is going to be the Democratic candidate and this fall, along with Kevin Kramer winning the GOP primary. Congratulations to them. It is now official. Kevin Kramer versus Katrina Christensen this November.
He's waited months to say that.
I have. I've waited my whole life to say that.
All right. So we have a special guest that is coming on. Really excited to talk to her. We didn't have a chance to do a podcast with her. I was hoping I'd be able to do. It didn't work out. We have Sandy Sanford. Yes. Thank you for coming on today, Sandy.
Hi. Nice to be here.
Absolutely. So first off, how has the day gone for you? I'm sure it's been a hectic day.
It's been a hectic few months, I would have to say, and this is a natural wind down, and it actually today feels pretty good, and tomorrow will be a new day, so I'm looking forward to midnight.
Absolutely. So very interesting things happening today with those texts being sent out that weren't necessarily. Julie Fedorchak was not necessarily a fan of. Didn't affect the endorsed candidate for the Republican Party, but I think it also does reflect on the Republican Party as a whole. What has been your thoughts on that situation that rose up?
Right, certainly. Talking to individuals that have been part of the Republican Party for the past few years, it is very clear that we are seeing different methods being used in 2024. They're methods that the party does not approve of. That is for sure. But it's something that we've opted to let some of this play out up until June 11th. I'm sorry, and we've let the voters decide. We believe North Dakota voters are smart, and we're just going to let them decide who their next elected official will be, even based on poor methods.
Absolutely. It seems like there's been a lot of interesting tactics that have been presented this election cycle. How does that affect? Obviously, we'll see how it plays out with Alex Balasz. We've looked at some initial results. He's got an uphill battle the rest of the evening. But whether it's Julie Fedorchak, Becker, Mund, whomever it might be, are you guys going to be backing these practices that are kind of borderline? Will you guys have a little bit of practices of these campaigning where we're going and having these negative campaign ads that are being presented constantly? Is this something that's backed by
No. This lacks integrity. I got to tell you, North Dakota is a conservative state. And they say 80% conservative, and like I said, there's methods that we're seeing in 2024 that Republicans have not necessarily seen in the past. I do want to note the split in the Republican Party is not unique to the state of North Dakota. It is across the nation, but no, these are methods. Conservatives and Republicans always talk since 2020 about election integrity or lack of election integrity. What we're seeing today in 2024 with campaigns is a lack of campaign integrity. And it is certainly something that, hey, if I was part of a campaign, I would not be proud of it. And I do understand that campaigns, it's about winning, but really at all costs, is that really what we want to be as Republicans? I mean, Republicans claim to be people of faith and of integrity. And when we see methods like this, is this really people of faith that are utilizing these kinds of methods? This is something that I cannot support it as a chair of the NDGOP. I just do not.
Absolutely. Well, great feedback. So, watch party. We've been talking to people as they're at the different watch parties across the state, and we've been asking, which watch party are you at? Is it with friends, or are you at a certain campaign watch party?
Okay, so I am with the endorsed candidate for governor, Congressman Kelly Armstrong. We are at Gateway to Science in Bismarck, North Dakota, and it's probably about 300 people upstairs. And I just heard some people. I don't know if you can hear the people. They're screaming and congratulating. And I do believe he's a projected winner at 70-some%. So, but we'll just have to go up and take a look.
Awesome. Well, fantastic. Really appreciate you taking a few moments to join us. We'll have to do a podcast sometime.
Please, I look forward to it. I'll go on anytime you want. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Bye.
That was a fantastic interview. I think she was wonderful. I love her emphatic reaction to the negative campaign ads.
That was strong, man.
It was. I hope whoever
I liked it
wins the primary race, I hope she will be able to hold up to that, because I
think she can.
I think she can.
I think she can. I think the race will change dramatically, and I don't think it will play worse if it is done across party lines. Right now, it's done in party fighting, and right now there is the shell that the Republican Party has a situation that probably needs to get taken care of over a period of time here, right? If it goes beyond that party line, I think that's where there might begin to be a bit of a situation. I don't think she's going to allow it. Doesn't sound like she will. And I liked how strong she came out against that.
That was fantastic on her part. I think she did a great job. I think she will continue to do a great job this fall too. Continuing on from that, I love the point she was making with this. This isn't just a state thing. This is a national thing.
Yeah.
This is a schism
Everybody's
in the GOP that you've been, not just the GOP. This is even bigger than that, but on the GOP aspect, this is something that's been going on for at least the last 8 years. Ever since Trump really came out of nowhere.
Ever since you started voting, we've had these problems. So
this is true.
It's your fault, dude.
You're the
problem.
I guess it is what it is. I haven't had. I mean, I'm not going to say that. I have had. Yeah.
There's somebody that goes by the handle of Bob Dole's left hand. He's asking if he missed the Andrew Nias interview. Sorry, I mispronounced your name, Andrew. Forgive me. You did.
It was.
And
he was on pretty early.
I don't know how I'm supposed to handle that. Like, you missed it, bro.
Feel free.
Get with it.
Go ahead and rewind back. You can
definitely
come back
do
live
that
with us.
It would have been right around. Let's see. It would have been right around 40 minutes into the broadcast is when that was up. So it was a good interview. Andrew is such a good guy. I love the guy. He's entertaining. So very interesting. We pretty soon here, we got some more fantastic interviews coming up.
Yeah, it's going to be coming up real quick. Do you want to go through a quick rundown of where numbers are sitting at right now?
Give us a stats, man.
All right, let me pull it back up here. I'll get
That's why we're here.
Going. So sitting right now, Congress race, we have Fedora checking first. She's sitting at 44%. Becker in second at 30.9. Munn third, 18.5. Then Balasz in fourth at 5, and Moore at just over 1% in fifth.
They're almost holding to the poll numbers.
Kind of it's
right.
And so many of the undecided so far are going towards Fedora check, because if you look at those, especially 2 polls ago where it was,
like 35 something.
Yeah, it was like 32, 28, and 12 or something, and they're all.
We'll go with it.
Yeah, so don't quote that, but close, and they're all getting really close to where they were projected in those polls. Moving on to governor, like Sandy said, Kelly Armstrong is still pulling away with it. He has 67% of the vote.
She said projected winner.
She called that. Sandy,
no, she didn't call that.
No,
she said
projected.
It sounds like they're saying he's the projected winner. Yeah. She didn't say that she was projecting him to be a winner. Let's make that clear.
That's fair. I can't get too excited here.
But which is crazy because it's early, but I mean he's going strong.
Yeah, we have 60 precincts fully reported, 119 partial, and then on that public instruction race, Kristen Baylor still out in front by quite a bit at 55.5, with Jason Heitkamp coming in second at 23 right now, and that one age limit we were talking about is still at 61 to 38%. So that is still going pretty strong as of right now.
Jared Hendricks is the one that cares about that. He is involved in that
pretty heavily.
Yeah,
fair.
So this in about 10 minutes or so, 7 minutes, we're gonna have Katrina Christianson on. going to be interesting to see her take on the day. Well, we're getting everybody's opinions on these text messages. We'll ask her too. We'll ask her from the Democratic point of view, also
from a candidate's point of view.
Candidates, but about the texts that were sent out, discouraging Democratic voters to vote Democrat. Just an interesting stuff.
It's a weird.
It's a sad world we live in.
It is. It's a weird play that's how they would try to frame it. If it was even from someone that claims to be Democrat that put that out there, but
yeah,
it's
who knows anymore.
It's such a.
I think that what this brings up is campaigning in the 21st century, in the true 21st century, where, all right, so when's the last time you got a spam phone call?
Probably last weekend, if not.
Wow, good for you.
If not,
good for you,
week,
man.
yeah.
Good for you.
I'm sure you.
Because that's a long time. Our business number gets a spam phone call almost daily.
I could imagine it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's other spam tactics. So now we're starting to see potentially that potentially this is a direct campaign. Obviously, money is spent on this. It'd be difficult to see it fully as spam, but that's almost, if no campaign ever, if it's truly not associated with a campaign and it's an independent thing that's being done, then you almost have to mount it up to that. And it's interesting to see how voters are going to handle that, because it's not, there's potential that this isn't the end of it. It's probably just the beginning.
Exactly. The thing I'm really curious is how many people that text was sent out to. How many people actually received that text?
It's crazy that Fedorchuk's relatives got it.
Yeah, she said it was her sister, brothers,
and somebody else that was related to her.
It was, those are
at least they took her name off the list
without a doubt. Got her covered at least on that one. Minot's still not reporting.
Come on, Minot.
We're up to 23,000 votes counted so far, 60 precincts full and 119 still partial. Haven't had any updates in a couple minutes here. Should be getting another chunk of votes coming in any time at this stage.
I'm hoping that Minot doesn't report at like 10 o'clock.
Oh, that'd be disappointing. That would be such a Minot thing. Please don't, Minot. Please.
I don't know if we blame Minot for that, though.
No, it's the state, but it would
sure
just
we blame.
But people would blame Minot for it because people love to blame Minot for it.
I would just blame city council.
Exactly. Just jump on that bandwagon. It's got to be their fault somehow, right?
Yeah, that's the easy out right there.
Oh, 100%. That's the basic easiest. Like you said, it's the easiest out, easiest cop out we got. Fedorchuk, we just had some new votes roll in, up to 45%, a hair over. Becker is just under 30% now, and Munda's holding steady at about 18.5%, with Balasz dropping to about 5%.
Does she run away with it? Does Fedorchuk just run away with it?
I think it's starting to. It's less close than I was anticipating to start. I figured it would have been. It's not like it's a far race. It's separated by about 3,000 votes right now, 89-30 to 59-21. So I mean, it's by all means. If Rick Becker, if Burleigh County isn't reporting by, I don't know if they are. I haven't looked, but say Burleigh County has minimal votes reporting, and that's Rick Becker's hometown. Say he wins that by
You think he wins that?
I don't know what their polling numbers look like, but hypothetically, if he were to win that by a landslide margin, all of a sudden this could be a much tighter race.
I don't think he may win Burleigh County. I'm not saying that, but
Burleigh County hasn't reported yet.
Becker's not a guy that wins. He wins where he connects in with the grassroots.
That's true.
That's where he wins. It's not about where he grew up.
Do you think he can get enough support from those rural areas then? Is there enough people out voting there to get him enough votes to get that deficit back at this stage?
Right. I don't know the counties of North Dakota. Matter of fact, in one of these breaks, I have a map of all the counties in North Dakota and where they're at, and I'll grab that because I don't know where all the counties are up. It's too close to go and say he can't make up that gap.
No, not at this point. I mean, even it's a little farther, but even the Kelly Armstrong Tammy Miller race is still too close. It's 13,476 to 6,300. I mean, it's getting farther and farther away, but it's still within reason that because
you're used to looking at presidential elections.
That's fair. This is North Dakota on a primary day.
Because like if you have a 50% lead where you're doubling that person's votes, then that means that the for the next half, it has to reverse.
Yeah, she has to double his over the next, and he's already had. Yeah,
that's difficult to do.
Yeah.
For Becker in Fedorchak, we're looking at a 2,000, just over 2,000 vote differential.
Yeah. He
could win places 60-40, whereas she was winning 60-40 before, and he could make that back.
Make that gap up at that stage. No, that's a very good point. And yeah, like you said, with the governor race, that's just getting farther and farther apart. And same with the superintendent of public instruction. But that race will continue on.
So what's the superintendent? I want
Kristen Baszler is currently sitting at 55.5%. Jason Heitkamp at 23.3%. Jim Bartlett at 17.9%, and Darko Dragonich at 2.8%.
All right, let's add Jason's and Jim's together, and that makes 30-40. And so Baszler has that.
Yeah, she has over. She has a majority of the vote, not even a plurality at this point, like Fedorchak. She has not well, but over 50%. She is well in the lead at this stage.
Yeah, definitely, which is crazy.
Yeah,
I don't know that she should be removed. I'm not saying that or voted out.
But I know in the GOP convention that it was pretty heavily leaning.
We were going to ask. We're going to ask
them.
I forgot, man. It's such a good question because we're seeing these results come in, and the endorsed candidates from that convention are losing, and that's not common.
No, it's not impossible, but it's not a very common thing to happen.
Well, it's not a common trend in North Dakota.
Exactly.
It's what I'm saying.
North Dakota is somewhere that typically goes as the party leads, especially the last decade. I think the most notable exception of that being Doug Burgum.
Yeah.
Aside from that,
but you had to love the matter-of-factness of her.
Oh, I did. I loved that. She was vehemently opposed to.
And that leadership, it will be interesting to see how that plays in the party over time, even with somehow these endorsings have gone and stuff of maybe a very strong direction forward.
No, that would be. It would be interesting to see how it plays. And that I also wonder if I can't imagine they would. This would be something you could ask them on a future podcast, maybe, if they would be interested in changing those laws that bar independent, someone that runs as an independent from being endorsed by the GOP in X amount of years. We'd have to look up that exact date and time frame, but I think that would be interesting to ask them. That way, Becker and Munn could have competed at the convention for it as well.
Yeah, that rule's not changing.
I can't imagine it would.
I think I asked NyHus about it. And he's like,
there's no clamor for it to change. So
there's a clamor in certain areas.
In some circles obviously want it to change. If you ran as an independent and you're a Republican, I mean, you want it to change. But other than that, it's pretty set how it is.
Somebody's telling us that they knew Kelly was going to win. You know what? That's what the poll said. So we're going to have to agree with you on it. All right. Poll said Kelly Armstrong's going to win. Our exit poll said Kelly Armstrong is going to win.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. We polled.
Yeah, but our poll did not. And we were curious how it was going to play compared for the Becker Fedorchak race. And
that's flipped of how we had it playing so far.
And we kind of anticipated that.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Especially with how things played out this afternoon too.
27,000 votes in, but guess what? Minot, we don't know how you voted.
None for Ward County yet. We are still waiting patiently for that to start rolling in here.
That's all right.
Oh, it'll be fine. It's all right. That's okay. Because Julie Fedorchak is at 49.5%. Becker's at 29.
How much you said? 45.
Yes, she has 9,127 votes. Rick Becker currently at 6,056. She's a hair over 3,000 votes ahead now, and we're up to 72 full precincts reported, and 110 are at partial.
There you have it.
We're getting there, folks. As soon as Minot rolls in, I would love to start yelling at you about that, but I'll start yapping. I just won't stop. But till then, we're going to have some good guests coming on first, though.
Some would say that's what we've been doing all night.
I think so, but I think it's been a good time. I think we've been going through these numbers pretty well.
We got some guests that will be coming on soon.
Yeah.
Looking forward to talking with them. We're going to keep their names anonymous until they're on. All right. But looking forward to that. Also looking forward to the results. Why don't we go ahead and take a quick break? I'm thinking that I'm guessing. All right.
Okay.
This is what I'm guessing. I'm guessing that Minot's results come in at around 9:00.
I think that's a fair.
I don't know why. because Fargo is not in another time zone than us. But like you said, some of the smaller counties are getting fully reported.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that around 9 o'clock, we're watching it down to almost like we're refreshing almost every minute. So,
and to be fair, on our respect, Burleigh County which is home of Bismarck, has yet to have any votes reported.
They got to mail those ballots in, man. It takes a while.
Exactly.
So we're gonna take a quick 3-minute break. Like last time, where it ended up being 1 minute. We're gonna take a very quick break here, and we'll be back with more results and another interview. So.
Stay tuned. Don't turn away. Don't click away. We're still live. We got
You were about to click away. Don't do it. Don't do it.
We're going to have those results coming back in. We'll have updated totals coming back in a couple minutes here. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back and we have a race to call. It is time to call our very first major race of the night. It looks like that Kelly Armstrong will be North Dakota's next endorsed endorsed candidate by the GOP for governor this fall. He will end up beating out Lieutenant Governor Tammy Miller. It's looking that way as of right now, at least. And I think we're going to call it.
Talk over that. He is the endorsed candidate, but he's going to be the only Republican candidate on the ballot come November.
Yes, he will. He will be the Republican on the ballot this fall.
Yeah.
Kelly Armstrong will win the primary race against Tammy Miller. If you saw the AP, you might have seen it there first, but you heard it here first. You heard it from us before you heard it from anyone else. And now a quick cycle through some of these races again. We have some more numbers come in. Fedorchak 45.2, Becker down to 29.4, Mund is up to 19.2, Balasz at 4.8, and more at 1. Going down to that governor race where we called it at, Kelly Armstrong is just under 68% with Tammy Miller at 31. It's looking to be the point where it is that one is going to be over with. And as of right now, we have Kristen Baszler out leading against Jason Heitkamp as well.
All right, and as promised during the break, I got my map of counties.
He's ready now.
Yeah, it's sweet. You won't be able to see it fully, but this tells me every county. It tells me the districts associated with the county, and it tells me the population in each district. So
that's a good map to have.
It's a good map for this time of year.
God, who doesn't love maps? A lot of people. I shouldn't say that.
There's some interesting background on the world map and how it changed. There was people that had the California not being connected to the United States. It never was connected.
Yeah, back in
when the map.
Yeah, when go ahead.
So our next guest is joining us here right now, we are excited to have with us, if I task, it's good to have Adam Goldwin with us. Welcome today.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Absolutely. So first question, and this is the hardest question we're going to ask you. No, it's not. It's actually the easiest question.
Fire away.
Are you at a watch party?
Of course I am at a watch party.
Okay.
I'm at Kingpin's here in South Fargo. I stepped outside. The music was too loud and the celebration was too happening.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's great to hear. All right. So there's been some epic things that have been happening across North Dakota in these primary campaigns. And somehow the Democrats have caught some side fire from it when there was text messages being sent out claiming, "Don't vote Democrat. We don't want your vote. We want you to vote Republican." What's going on with this? Do we know why this is happening?
Yeah, I mean, the short answer is we know why this is happening. Republican shenanigans from the top to the bottom of the election, nationally and locally, have really been taken over by all sorts of shenanigans, election denial, all sorts of craziness. And the Democratic message is simple. If you want to bring order and decency back to North Dakota, back to elections in general, the simple answer is to pull that ballot for the Dem NPL. And, that text message that went out suggests that John F. Kennedy and Jackie Kennedy might pull the lever for Republicans. And, to quote a famous debate, I know Jack Kennedy. Jack Kennedy was a friend of mine. Jack Kennedy would pull the lever up and down the ballot for Democrats his whole life, and he would continue to do so if he were still alive today.
Lloyd Benson, Dan Quayle, vice presidential debate in 1988.
Hey, we got some historians in our midst. Something else interesting, Republican governor primary race was recently called by the AP. Looks like Armstrong is going to win that. Obviously, that sets up the election for November for that race. Are you excited about? Have you guys been looking at the candidates saying we want this one to win? If so, are you excited about that matchup? How is it going to come November for the Democrats?
Yeah, we've actually been watching. We have a candidate who we really want to win, and we've been watching that for a long time. His name is Merrill Pepcorn. We think he's going to be a fantastic governor. People across the state have known him for the better part of 50 years, his band Radio Stars, his TV programming. And, one of the messages that we're hearing from inside is that, if you like money, vote Republicans. If you like North Dakotans, vote for Democrats. And so I think, Merrill Pepcorn represents a wonderful, wonderful part of who we are as North Dakotans.
Sure. It brings up an interesting point, though, with the money comment, because fundraising has been going well for the Democrats, and something that's been noted is the amount of small money fundraising that has been happening. We talk about the big donors, about where all that money comes from, but there's been a lot of small donations been made to the Democratic campaigns, which shows a lot of people getting involved, which is really important for the Democratic Party. Are you guys excited about that? What's the flavor in the room with all that going on?
Yeah, our convention that we had, I guess it was about 2 months ago, was the largest gathering of Democrats since 2018. And wow. I think that speaks to the level of enthusiasm that Democratic NPLers across the state have. And also, frankly, the level of disillusionment that Republicans and independents feel when they look at a legislature. We just heard 2 days ago, Rob Port broke news about terrible intimate partner violence carried out by a former representative, Luke Simons. And that's on top of the misdemeanor charges of Jason Doctor, on top of the homophobic and xenophobic drunken rants of Nico Rios, on top of the still pending international sex crimes of former Senator Ray Holmberg. And I think, North Dakotans are just sick and tired of it. They want integrity. They want decency. They want to look at their legislature and be represented, and look at that legislature and say, yeah, that's the best of who we are, not the worst of who we are.
I interviewed Trigby Hammer earlier this year concerning his race. And one of the things that he mentioned was the importance for Democrats to go and get some continuity in their candidates to create that name recognition. Do you see that playing a big effect come this November at the polls, where we're starting to see that with Katrina Christianson running campaign after campaign, election cycle after election cycle, and even Trigby Hammer now being a repeat?
Yeah, I think, the two most powerful forces in politics are incumbency and name recognition. Yeah. And, I think that our candidates, they're getting out. And you mentioned the small dollar donors. And that's because these candidates are crisscrossing the state, talking to actual voters. I mean, you talk about Katrina's name recognition. That comes from her being in Fargo today, in Castleton yesterday, in Minot 3 days ago, in Rolla, in McHenry, in Cannonball, in small towns all across the state. They'll be at the Annetta Turkey Barbecue next week. So, you know, that's how we connect with North Dakotans. That's what our NPL roots are. You know, the Nonpartisan League was about 100 years old now, but it was farmers who were sick and tired of how things were going, and they got on their tractors and they drove door to door talking about real things affecting real people. And that's what our party's embraced now.
Absolutely. Well, appreciate you jumping on for a few moments. It's been really interesting talking to you. Excited to see how things play out the rest of today, but also in November. Maybe we'll have to, I've been trying to get some podcasts out of our interviews today. We'll have to jump on and do a podcast part of the Dakotans Election Central deal.
Absolutely. Anytime.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you. Another great interview we had there.
Absolutely. That was very interesting.
Exactly. Adam is he's like we've been saying, he's very high on his candidates they have running for him.
Yeah.
It's
good.
It is. And they should be, rightfully so. I mean, if you're not excited about your candidate, why are they running?
All right, man.
Are you ready for me?
Yeah, let's go. Let's hear it.
First off, no Minot results.
Hopefully, we're hoping. We can't guarantee, but we're hoping 6 minutes from now we'll have some.
That's fingers crossed. Yeah, we get 902 or something. Hopefully, we'll get something trickling in. But the congressional race, I will give you an update on that. We're going to have Julie Fedorchak. She is in first right now. She's at 45.1%. Becker's in second at 29.2%. Munn in third at 19.6%. Then we have Balasz and Moore coming in behind. So right now it's at 10,373 to 6,700. So we're about 3,300 votes separating each other at this stage. So it's going to be, or 3,400 give or take. She's slowly adding to that lead that she's been just slowly building on since we've seen results start building in here.
Well, it's interesting.
It is. And if we want to take a peek, I mean, Kristen Baszler is still well ahead of the rest of the field in the superintendent of public instruction. And then that goodness, folks, we have some Minot stuff coming in. I have results in
a lot. It was like the download.
Hit. Yeah,
all right, let's go. Hurry up. Let's start with city council.
City council. Let me get up to city council.
I have it. Look at the screen.
Yep.
20% bless them. 17% Fuller, 14% Samuelson, 13% Geetson, 13.61% is Geetson, 13.04% is Padregula, 12% Burlingham, 9% Leif Snyder, and there's even a write-in that's gotten 63 votes. Wow. Our exit poll is holding up. It's not exact, but it's holding up. They had the top four.
Yep. And like I was saying earlier, Padregula is outperforming our exit poll. Just
not a surprise.
Yeah. With that name recognition, that was one of those things.
Go get District 38.
District 38 is currently at, where is it? Come on, pull up. Well, here. Yeah. Okay. So we have Dan Ruby in first. He is at 41.7%. Second place, Christina Wolf at 31%. And then Lisa Olson is in fourth at 26.98, about 27%. So right now, Wolf and Lisa Olson are at respectively, Christina Wolf has 826 votes. Lisa Olson is at 718. So they are just about 100 votes separating them.
And there's a write-in there too.
And there is 7 write-in votes right now for them.
Dude, Christina Wolf and Lisa are tight.
Yeah, that is going to be one of the closest races we have. So
that's where we were really curious whether or not our exit poll would actually hold up on that one.
Yeah, that was the interesting one. I think, like you were saying, Dan Roby's going to pull a lot of support in from the rural and western side of town, and a lot where we probably weren't at. And then looking at the park board here too, right now Chelsea Kirkhammer is leading out at 39%, with Cliff Hovda coming in second at 36%, and then Devin Mance right now is in third at 23.9%.
Interesting. So our exit poll didn't hold up to that at all right now.
And then for school board, we have Lacey.
So it's pretty tight though, and Kirkhammer is well in front. It's not tight. It's only tight between the top two.
Yeah,
Devin is behind.
Mance is behind by a fair margin right now, by what?
Almost 1,000
votes. Yeah,
just over.
Yeah, and it's obviously there's a lot to come still. All 4 precincts are not fully reported. It's still all partial. But looking at, you want to look at the school board now?
Let's go.
Okay, so looking at the school board right now, we have Lacey Lautenschlager leading. She is at 18.99%, so 19% with 3,087 votes. Second, we have Scott Lauser coming in with 16.7. Third, Bill Ehrman at 14.7. Derek Trudell is at fourth at 14.4. Michael Gessner at 13.1. Kaylee Borkwin at 12.47, and then John Kerry at 9.2%. So
Dude,
that is insanely tight from top bottom, frankly. From first to last is so Lautenschlager is 3,087. Kerry is at 1,495. So only about 1,600 votes separate first and last right now.
Yeah.
And that is 7 people.
we had John Kerry higher than that.
We did. Yep. We had him polling, I think, in third, right?
Yeah, he was in the middle of the pack,
Yeah.
not at the bottom.
Yeah. So this is an
That's a bummer.
Yeah. It's an interesting play right now. It's going to be very tight. The closest ones right now, Kaylee Borkwin and Michael Gessner are separated by less than 100 votes. Gessner and Trudell are only separated by about 150, but Trudell and Ehrman, which is the fight for third right now, is at separated by about 40 votes. It's 2391 to 2354. It's a hair under 37 votes total separate them right now. That is an incredibly close election. That looks like, as of right now at least, what will be the deciding factor for the school board race early on still. But
we'll be refreshing often to continue to get these latest ones in
constantly. And if anyone's interested, Minot had a city measure going around. It is currently leading yes to no, 88% to 11%.
What's our city measure?
We're going to expect that to pass. Our city measure this year. Let me double check that. I remember voting for it. But I know for a fact that there was a school department one too, or school board one, I believe. It's going to be, where is it here? Let me scroll down. I have the ballot up here.
Dun.
I know, right? Give me the Jeopardy music. I need it. I can feel myself flushing. Minot City Measure number 1, schools in the city council, or in the school, should the city council of the city of Minot publish the minutes of its meeting in the official newspaper for Ward County until such time, if ever further participation is disapproved by the voters as a succeeding election. So effectively, do we want their minutes published in the newspaper?
Yeah.
Vastly, yes. You know what?
Okay, why?
Can I? I don't know. Why not?
Okay. No, you go ahead, wave your flag. That's not why I'm saying why.
I'm
Yeah.
going to call that election. Minot will vote yes on
But
measure 1.
Why do we want the minutes published in the newspaper?
I don't think it makes a difference.
No, come on though. Come on.
They want
All right.
transparency. They
Okay,
want, yeah.
we want transparency. But we're talking about a school that's concerned about cost.
Yeah, it's what's that going to cost at that point? Yeah, what's the extra? I mean, it won't be a ton, but I'm sure it's going to be something that's going to go into that. It won't be free. I'll tell you that for a fact. Minot City Council will. I mean, it'll work out in the end. But City Council, I mean, I think they're going to be publishing their minutes in the county newspaper at that point. At this point, it's still sitting at those same numbers we had. Nothing else has come through yet.
I'm sure they'll take, but go refresh the state ones.
Yeah. Let me get up to that one. I will check out. Oh, if we're curious, I have the county commissioner. Right now, there have been 3,400 write-in votes so far.
Oh, but we don't get to see who.
We don't know who yet. Yes, but there's been 3,400 there.
So that means that we're going to have several candidates and
It likely sounds so.
Wow.
It sounds very likely. That I'm surprised, honestly. There's that high of
I don't care who, but did you write in a candidate?
I did write in the candidate. Yeah.
I did too.
So Shelley Wepler is currently in at first at 38%, with Jedediah Rader in second at 33%. And then the write-in votes currently have 28.67% of the vote at 3,400 votes. So there will certainly be a contested election this fall for that. They needed 300 to get onto the ballot.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. Kelly Armstrong's up to 69%. That race is over. And then Julie Fedorchak is over 46% now.
So she's increasing her lead now.
She is over 6,000 votes ahead of Rick Becker.
Gotcha. So now it's starting to look a little bit.
Yep, 17,500 to Rick Becker, just a hair over 11,000. Then Munn's at 19%. So that one is getting further and further apart as the night goes on.
Crazy.
It is. It's about expected. I was frankly expecting Becker to perform a little better, and he still could by all means. There's a lot to come in.
We will
only have 101 precincts fully reporting out of 380.
We might be getting a guest soon, and so after that, we'll look through actually, Jared Hendricks is going to be coming on later too. When he comes on, we'll go through the counties in that race to really get the breakdown on that.
Yeah, no,
and we'll also go through the races that he highlighted. But yeah, really interesting to see the breakdowns come in here.
Yeah, they're all starting to trickle in. We're still waiting on more of the Minot stuff to come in, but it's all rolling in now. Everywhere is pretty much reporting. Also, the school district measure in Minot.
Well, you say all, your Minot's all, but in the state, we're still missing.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, all districts in Minot are reporting.
100 and some
yes,
precincts.
Yes, I meant Minot on that. My apologies.
Well, I'm calling you out.
You should, as you should. You you have every right to, and you should.
26% of the precincts are reporting, but pretty soon we have a special guest.
Hello.
It's so good to have Katrina Christianson with us.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going so good. So this is the first question of the day that we've had for most of our interviews. What watch party are we at today?
We're in Fargo at Kingpins.
Okay, very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How has campaigning across the state gone? You just show up anywhere and everywhere. It's like we need to create a Twitter account tracking Katrina Christensen.
Yeah, no, we've been all over. I think we've been to the 4 major cities. Just this week, we were in Minot and Fargo on Saturday, Grand Forks Sunday, Bismarck a couple times in the week. So we're getting out there and meeting voters.
That's awesome. Obviously, there was never a question who you were there's never a question who you're running against. Nobody was contesting current Senator Kevin Cramer. Now that campaign and election starts heating up, the spotlight's going to be on that a little bit more now. What are some of the things that you're looking forward to over the next couple months until November as you continue to get out and meet voters?
Yeah, I really do enjoy meeting North Dakotans. I think one of the greatest things about running in 22 was just meeting so many people, out on the trail. I have this great story from going to Castleton and meeting this small business owner. And she was telling me her story about, getting her business through COVID without PPE loans. And she was just so innovative and tenacious. And it was just incredible to hear how inspired one can be after, going through such a harrowing thing as COVID. Like, how are you going to keep people on staff? And she did it without the help from the federal government. She said she wouldn't take it. And I am so inspired by those people. I want to work that hard for them. So
absolutely. You always have great stories from the campaign. I think when we did our podcast together, you had one from Michigan, North Dakota. And when I drove through Michigan, I thought of you. I was like, hey, that's the gas station that happened at right there.
That's great. Yeah. Well, I mean, we were at M&H, was that Saturday, and I met a guy named Willie, and we just started to talk to him about, how important it is to get tax cuts for the working class and the middle class. And so, and he was from Ypsilanti. And so everywhere that we go, we try to make those connections.
We're starting to see some races called, which is interesting, obviously on the Republican side. So that's interesting. They called the governor. But one thing that we saw earlier today, and we've been getting everybody's perspective on this, is these text messages that got sent out. Republican side's getting a little bit creative in their campaign tactics. Are you concerned about that carrying over into the general election?
Well, I certainly hope that they don't. I do think that, we know from the New Hampshire robocalling that they'll find you if you interfere with elections. I mean, so those text messages were interference, obviously, and inappropriate for sure. And so, I want to make sure that we run a clean campaign. It needs to be about the records. votes. It needs to be about the issues. You know, I don't go out campaigning and talking about the things that I care about. I want to find out what the voters care about. And so I want to stay very focused on those things. And if they come at me, we'll figure out how to deal with it. But certainly today's texts were out of line, if not over the line, right? So
absolutely. One thing that's been mentioned is the importance of the continuance of name recognition on the Democratic side as you guys continue to fight in these campaigns. Have you felt that? You ran last time against Hovind, right? Last election cycle.
Yeah, I did.
Are you starting to
Yeah.
feel the synergy?
Oh, I absolutely. I went. I can't go grocery shopping now, right?
No.
Without people seeing me, so I can't wear my sweatpants, right? Got to be ready to campaign, and you know, yeah, it's great. I mean, that's the sort of thing that we want, and a lot of people don't know me, and that's why we're out on the campaign trail. We've got to meet everybody we can to win in November, and just show that I'm really interested in working for them, not special interests. And you know, I met with a group of ranchers a couple weeks ago, and in Lincoln, North Dakota, and it was almost like defending a dissertation, right? I was standing out there, gave my little tiny stump speech, and then I just took a bunch of questions, and they did not stop. They did not let up, and you know, I learned a bunch. But I also, I mean, the big takeaway is they don't have a representative. They don't have somebody who's doing the work that they need to be done to stay in business, for their kids to inherit their business, and to make the margins they need. And so, you know, that's the sort of thing that I'm going to carry with me to Washington.
So if we see you going through the grocery store in sunglasses in the winter, we'll know why. We'll know why. She just wants to go shop in peace. That's all.
I do. Well, you know, like in North Dakota, you usually see people you know at the grocery store, right? But now I see people I don't know and they know me. So
yeah, that's a little bit different.
It's a great problem.
Yeah, that's neat. Yeah. One thing that has some attention has been drawn to that is a great thing is the small amount of donations that the Democrats are receiving. You and I believe Trigby has also highlighted this. And I say small because there's been a huge quantity of them, and it has built up a large amount. But it's shown the grassroots effort that is developing again in the Democrats. What's your excitement about that?
Oh, I just love that we're not beholden to anyone. You know, I think I've had over 25,000 donors. Our average donation, I think, is, you know, particularly this month, is I think $23, right? We're not beholden to anyone. My opponent's taken a bunch of PAC money, corporate PAC money. I don't have to worry about that. The great thing about having those small dollar donors is it allows people like myself and Trigby to be competitive. These races used to be competitive, and we've been working on building the infrastructure to get our names out there, get our message out there, and let the voters know that they have a choice in November, a really good choice. So it's great.
Well, really appreciate you joining us. I hope that you guys continue to have a fun time, exciting time at your guys' party.
Yeah. It's fun.
Absolutely.
It's great.
I'm sure we'll see you sometime in Minot. Absolutely. Thank you.
Oh yeah. We'll be back on Thursday. Take care.
All right. There you go. Sounds good. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
There we go, man.
Oh, that was a fantastic interview. Real fast before we dissect it, I want to call a race.
What are we calling?
I am calling the Democratic primary for Congress.
All right. I see you.
This is closer than I anticipated. So Trigby Hammer currently is at 75% of the vote, with Roland Reimers coming in at 24%. So he has
24%.
Yeah, he has. There's 11,000 votes.
How much does Trigby has?
He has 75%.
Okay, so there's not much of a write-in.
You know, he has. There's 44 write-in votes total.
Total, not percentage.
Yeah, total. That's 44 total. That's 0.4%. So it's 8,300 votes to 2,500. I think that is fair to call Trigby the winner on that. Congratulations to Mr. Hammer. He will be facing the winner of the Republican primary this fall.
All right, so good for Trigby.
Mm-hmm. Great interview with Katrina. She did very enthusiastic for this fall.
Yeah, Katrina's great.
She very nice, super personable. I look forward to seeing how her dynamic goes this fall against Kevin Cramer.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Look forward to those debates.
Without a doubt.
Nothing much has changed, man.
Minot
We're
is-
just kind
we got that
of
first
holding.
big dump, and now we're just
But
holding
let's
on.
see. That's a lot of votes that we got.
They
dumped.
gave a very big.
That's 10,000 votes.
Yeah, they gave a big.
So let's
dump.
talk about that. You should pull up. What you should pull up is to see how many votes were in 2022.
Yeah, no, definitely I can do that.
Because right there, from everything that I've been told, right there's a lot of votes.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Now, to be fair, I misspoke. I'm sorry. I misspoke. It's a lot of votes because I was viewing it wrong. Truly, there's only around 3,000 votes. Let's see.
So, for whatever reason, the Secretary of State's archives for 2022 aren't pulling up right now.
But let's go to Ward. Let's get the actual amount of votes that we've had in Ward.
In Ward County right now.
So we've had 7,000 ballots cast in Ward County. And I don't know what precinct number we are. So good luck with that. But 7,200 ballots cast in Ward County.
Or in Ward County so far. Perfect. So have the Ward County map pulled up for the congressional race for the Republican Party. Just going over that real fast, Julie Fedoracek is also in the lead there, as she has been with most of the states. She's at 45%. Rick Becker second at 32. Cara Munn fourth at 16. So it's pretty much staying relatively in line with the rest of the state.
Interesting.
I can tell you this, it's not pulling up, but the total number of ballots cast in the 2022 primary was 108,168. And we are currently at 61,082. That's 10% of statewide turnout. We still have a lot of votes to come in. I expect it to surpass 2 years ago. It will probably be closer in line with 2020's primary election, which had a total of 160,000 votes cast. I doubt it will reach that, but I definitely think it will surpass the 106,000 votes from 2 years ago.
Probably.
And let me refresh here, see if anything new from Minot's come in by chance. Doesn't quite look like it yet. Nope, not quite. Yeah, we still have Dan Ruby leading Christina Wolf and Lisa Olson, with those two separated by just over 100 votes separate them as of our last update. Past that, county commissioner has Shelley Wepler and Jedediah Rader at 38 and 33% respectively, with that write-in vote coming in at 28.67. Over 3,400 write-in votes cast for the Ward County commissioner candidacy, and that will be an interesting race to follow and see when those get released and who they might be.
All right, let's jump to District 2.
Definitely.
Mark Inget is beating out Harms. That was one of the races that we were supposed to be
Jared mentioned.
Peak at. District 6, Zach Lessig is losing to Paul Thomas. Zach Lessig, I believe, was the endorsed candidate.
I believe so. And that's a fairly hefty margin there, too. Almost 60-some percent to 35%. That is a sizable distance.
So on the House side,
mm-hmm.
It looks like interesting. It looks
a very tight
like
race.
the endorsed candidates are not faring well there either.
No, not at all. Yeah, we have Dick Anderson, Dan Vollmer leading right now at 29 and 28%, and then a fairly decent gap between Pat Bachmeyer and Colette Kramer at the bottom at 21 and 19%. So that's
Colette, otherwise she'll be mad at me.
Excuse me, I apologize, Colette. Between those two coming out to round it in. And that one should be that will continue to be a tight race here.
Yep. Trying to jump to
you're good.
Up here, districts. Well, let's jump to district. I think it's 14. That's another interesting one.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, Jerry Klein is running ahead of Carissa Grothy.
Yeah, almost 61, almost 62% to 38, almost 60-40. He is out ahead.
And that's again the endorsed candidate is Carissa.
Yeah, that is a
and then,
sizable distance. And
then it looks like that's carrying over to the House side as well, where they're struggling to overtake.
Yep, Robin Weiss and John Nelson are leading the other two by about 6% of a gap there.
District 30, there's nothing being reported yet.
Still no votes in for that. That's interesting. I wonder if any of Burleigh County started to report in yet then.
And that could be interesting for
a couple of races.
Dr. Becker.
Yeah. Let me take a peek at Burleigh County.
You do that.
Yeah, Burleigh County has started to send report in votes, so maybe just not that precinct yet.
David Hogue looks like he's going to run away with it in District 38.
We had
it sounded like he was a little bit stressed about that.
Whopping 8 write-in votes for him or against him.
District 30 is not in.
That wasn't the Bismarck one.
Where is District 30 at? It might be Burleigh.
I thought he said Southern Bismarck.
No, District 30 is in Bismarck.
I guess, could it be in Morton County? Is it that far south? I don't think so. Or Emmons?
Well,
I mean, to be fair, Emmons and Morton both haven't reported yet. So if it is, by all means, but I feel like it.
Look at the map. Where do you think it's at?
Let me take a peek here. Number 30 is Southern. Yeah, that's still in Burleigh. Yeah, that's
how you see that?
I see that in Burleigh still.
Whole different color than Burleigh County.
Because it's separating District 35 from 30.
Yeah, maybe it's got really confusing.
Oh no, I see they have little arrows pointing in there.
So it's in Burleigh.
I think so. I would lean. It's like right on the line of Burleigh. It could be in Morton, frankly.
It's probably in Burleigh.
We'll lean.
We're very astute geographists.
We know what we're doing clearly.
All right, other interesting ones.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Any other big ones popping up there?
What I'm gonna do?
Minot still is yet to report any new results.
I'm gonna jump over to Legend 8. We gave them a shout out.
Okay.
Oh, so they're calling one. Legend 8's calling one for District 42 Clara Quarry.
Okay. Legend 8.
It appears they're calling it. It's green, which is really interesting because that still feels tight.
That looks like it. I mean, at least to a certain.
But I don't know the district. But Clara Quarry's had an interesting year.
Without a doubt.
District 42, it looks like Emily O'Brien lost it, and she's also had an interesting year, to say the least. Both of those were the ones Legend 8 had.
Those are the two they've called so far?
Well, that they backed.
Oh, that they, okay.
Or I shouldn't say backed, but endorsed.
I got you.
Essentially.
Okay. Currently, the state is at 153 out of 385.
Oh, here's the District 30. District 30. I might have had old news. Diane Larson is beating Adam Rose in District 30 Senate race.
Okay.
And then it looks like Justice and Munson, we had him on.
Yep.
And David Charles are losing to Mike Nath and Glenn Bosch.
Okay. So that is an interesting development there. Getting some results pulling in here. Still, Minot hasn't updated. But no, that's an interesting race down there in the southern part of Bismarck. We were talking earlier, that could definitely be a good tone setter for the rest of the state and how it can end up playing out. And I think we're seeing that right now before us. I think the state of North Dakota has largely pushed out the endorsed candidate and accepted who they think is more for the people. I think.
Yeah, but what happens if all the endorsed candidates lose?
What's the point of endorsing then? Is the endorsement not supposed to be?
I think that's been the question.
Yeah, that's like the quote unquote vetting point of it. And they vet these candidates to present them, and then the people don't like them, so they pick their own. I guess that's the point of the primary system. Yeah. If we want a quick update here for the congressional race, Fedoracek is at 45.9%, Becker's at 29.03%, and Mund is up to a hair over 20%. So that currently Fedoracek has an over 11,000 vote lead on Rick Becker, 30,000 to 19,000.
Yeah,
that is
Julie's starting to run with it.
Yeah, it is getting closer and closer.
Nasty out there. Yeah. Well, the thing is Cara Mund has completely outperformed her numbers.
Yeah, all of her polling data.
And I think that I don't who do the Mund voters vote for?
Generally?
No, yeah, I'm saying if she's not in the race.
I would imagine a vast majority of them vote Democratic in the general election.
No, I'm saying if she's not in this race.
Oh, excuse me. I see what you're saying. That's a tough one. Yeah. I wonder if they even do vote in this race, or if they vote.
You really think they just voted for Monte?
I doubt it. I imagine she had to have had some kind of a backing here. She's a I would think.
I know she's a moderate.
I don't know who they would lean with if not her.
So
I don't know if they would fall in.
Basically, who did she hurt?
Yeah.
Did she hurt Becker? Probably not.
I can't imagine she would have.
Doesn't feel like the move.
Their positions are
a little bit different,
contrasting on most points. I mean, I can't imagine she would have directly hurt him. It's just but Fedorchak's winning, so she couldn't have hurt her. I mean,
well, she could have.
But would it have been a landslide? At that point, yeah. Would Fedorchak have 60% of the vote at that stage?
Interesting questions. We'll never know the answers to.
Yeah. This is some alternate timeline stuff we got to delve into someday. But further than that, yeah, everything's still holding pat for the most part. Armstrong's over 71% of the vote now. He has pretty much effectively ran away with that. Kelly Armstrong, Michelle Strinden, going to face Meryl Pipcorn in the fall. And yeah, we're still waiting on more Minot results to come back. We got that first big dump, like you said. It was a lot of votes too, but since then we haven't gotten that second round.
Jared Hendricks will be jumping on soon.
Good.
And I want to get one of the candidates over there for Minot, but don't want to get him on too soon.
This is fair. Yeah, we want to at least wait for one more batch to come through before we start calling people on that.
Very interesting.
But well, I guess just you want to do a quick update on the Minot thing. We haven't talked about the exact numbers.
All right, let's do it.
So the numbers haven't changed recently, but we have coming in first right now. Leading currently is Mike Blessum at 20.1%. Second, we have Rob Fuller at 17.2%. Third right now is Scott Samuelson at 14.4%. Mike Geetson at 13.6%, followed by Dr. Stephen Padragula at 13%. Then Scott Burlingame at 12%, and Leif Snyder at 9%. So right now it is, still an incredibly close race. Less than 2,000 votes.
School board, we got Lacey Laudenschlager at 18.99%, Scott Lauser 16.7%, and Bill Orman at 14.7%. Very tight there for third place.
Yeah,
Derek Trudell is just below at 14.48, just a total of like 40 votes.
Yeah, hair under 40 votes separating those two.
And then you have Michael Gessner at 13%, Kaylee Borquin at 12.5%, and John Kerry around 9%.
Yep, and Gessner's only about 200 votes behind Trudell, so that the school board race should be
is tight, but 200 is big in a city election.
Yeah, and especially when we've had a fair amount of votes come through.
We got a friend back, friend of the program.
He's back.
All right. Hey, you're back. It's good to have you. You still having a good time?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So we looked at some of the races you told us to look at. All right. We took your advice and it's interesting to see how it goes. First off, District 2, Mark Inget jumped out to the early lead.
Yep.
So that's awesome. But in District 30 and District 14, there's an uphill battle for some of the candidates that you mentioned, the endorsed candidates. And that's what's interesting is we've seen a lot of the endorsed candidates struggle this cycle. What does that mean?
Yeah, well, it just means the party endorsement doesn't mean a whole lot. It doesn't mean, it should mean a lot. And we kind of deny the rights of free association to individuals that want to participate in a political party to determine who their nominees are. So I'd be very interested to see if there's one of the results of this is seeing that there's some proposed law changes to strengthen the rights of political parties to have a lot more say. We don't have voter registration. So that could be one result of this. But I think it also tells you that money certainly helps. Most of these incumbent legislators raised a lot more money than the challengers, at least not in every case, but in most cases. And of course, most of the money they raised, on average, like 85, 90, 95% was from lobbyist PACs. Yeah. So obviously people in and around Bismarck want some of these same folks reelected that they work with. But I think in general, it just tells you that there's a power of incumbency, which for me just kind of underscores and strengthens my resolve for why I supported the term limits measure a couple of years ago, because you can clearly see in the data the advantages that incumbent legislators have over everybody else, because they have that power of incumbency and the name ID and the sort of free publicity and advantages that come with that. But yeah, it's still too early to tell in some of these districts, because sometimes you report a new precinct and the numbers can move widely. But certainly it looks like a lot of the incumbents are winning in a lot of areas, but not everywhere.
Yeah, not everywhere. That's the truth. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what changes are made with the endorsing, because it seems like that's a two-way system, two-tier system right now that's going on that seems to be a little bit ineffective. Mm-hmm. With some candidates not even playing the game of the endorsement part, just like, all right, yeah, whatever, we'll just take it up at the primary election. Go ahead and play that game. And
yeah, for sure. And then they want all the advantages of association with the brand. Right. Because let's be honest, they can sit here, a lot of these incumbents that might point to the endorsement, say it doesn't matter, or that they're known or whatever. But at the end of the day, they're really, they might be known and they might be doing well enough to obviously win in a primary in some cases here, and maybe even in most cases. But at the end of the day, if they're Republican, they got an R next to their name in November, and that's why they're winning. So they can't. They have to. We have to kind of reconcile that, because you're sort of talking out of both sides of your mouth in a way if you're saying that the party brand doesn't matter, but at the same time it does matter, because it's the real reason that you're winning in November.
One more thing before we let you go, the money part of it. Is there a solution to that where money seems to win races? Obviously, there was a lot of money spent in the governor races, and it didn't necessarily play out maybe the way it wasn't that tight of a race, called pretty early. But for some of these local district races, a lot of money being thrown around there. Anything that can be done about that?
I think personally there needs to be a lot more regulation on some of the dark money that comes. I mean, we've seen what Brighter Future has done in particular, and it's just been pretty nasty. I think that needs to be dealt with, and there is a First Amendment issue there. I mean, you can't regulate it too heavily, but I do think there's maybe more disclosure and more transparency that we can push there. That would be a really big help. And then the other thing is just lessons for challengers and incumbents, challengers to incumbents. And I know when I have a client or somebody I'm helping their campaign, I go through the list with them and I'm like, look, are you gonna? Well, first of all, is your family on board with you running? That's number one. Number two, are you able and willing to put the time and energy into the campaign? Number two, are you going to raise money? Mm-hmm. And number three, are you going to knock on doors? I mean, if the answer is no to any of those things, you're wasting your time, and you're wasting your time and everybody else's time. Now, sometimes you do all those things and you work really hard and you still can't pull it off. But at least then you can kind of look back and say, you know what? It wasn't my time. I didn't win, but I did everything I could have, and I worked really hard. But I think it does go to show that candidates, I mean, look, it's unfortunate that so much money is involved in politics, but it is. And that means you got to compete. You got to raise money. You got to go through your list of people that can contribute so that you can get the word out.
For sure. Can I ask you one more question?
Yeah.
All right. What about I'm not talking about the text messages. We talked about that maybe too much, but the beginning or continuance of shady ads that are going out in some of these district races that imply things that are not necessarily true. Is that fair? Is that right? Is that wrong? Can that be regulated? Well, there's been reports of, like, first off, of mailers being sent out implying that a candidate is running and they're currently a representative, or they're currently a senator, by saying elect representative whomever, and things like that are going on, and maybe that's having an effect on some things.
I mean, it could be, it could be affecting voters that are, not aware of the facts around that, and it could certainly change things one way or the other. But, I also think the same is true over just general knowledge about issues. I mean, do people really know the voting records of folks? And
that's the truth.
That's pretty clear that many people don't. Many people just vote for the name they know. And if something was maybe incendiary enough to make them motivated one way or the other. But, I will say, though, that even with some of the candidates that might end up not being successful if they're challengers tonight, I think you could also use it as a benchmark to more recent campaigns. and look at the people that did work hard and get out on the doors. Even if they didn't win, you can definitely see where the work pays off, win or lose.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good. Well, appreciate you joining us a couple times tonight. Always great to get your insight on what's going on. Make sure you enjoy your evening.
Yep, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. So knowledgeable Jared is.
What a guy.
He is
what
on
a
top
guy.
of
We
his
can
stuff.
say whatever we want about him now. And he can hear us, but he can't talk back.
Say nothing. That was a great interview. Do you want some more results? We got some more stuff in from Minot.
Oh, Minot.
Yes, we have some more Minot numbers trickling in. You want to start with City Council?
Let's start with City Council.
Okay, so City Council, first off, we still have Mike Blessum in the lead at 20.1%. Rob Fuller's coming in second at 17, Scamuelson at third, Geetson fourth, Padre Gula fifth, Burlingame, and then Leif Snyder. None of the numbers have changed that much. They've all pretty much stayed pretty steady where they're at. The closest one right now looks like between Geetson and Samuelson, which is separated by about 130 votes. None of the precincts in town have fully reported yet, so that vote is still out there. That is a probably small enough margin to be made up. And then Padre Gula, frankly, isn't that far behind either. He's about 200 votes behind Samuelson. So that could... I think that third spot for sure is still definitely up for grabs, and that even Rob Fuller at second is only about 140 ahead of Samuelson, but that gives him a lot closer, a more comfortable lead there. Then so with school board, we have numbers similar. Lacey Lautenschlager's in at first. Scott Lauser's at second at 16%. We have Bill Ehrman third, 14.7%, and Derek Trudell's at fourth, 14.49%. So
how wide's that gap?
I was just going to bring that up. Yeah, so Ehrman's at 2,397 votes. Trudell is at 2,362. That is 35 votes that separate those two right now. That is an incredibly tight election.
But that stayed consistent.
That has been very close still. Like they've gained those numbers. Yeah, it is incredibly close.
Is Trudell going to request a recount if he loses?
I'm
kidding.
I mean, at what point does the automatic recount?
Yeah, I don't know.
Put in. I know it's
stop asking questions. I don't know the answer.
I don't know either. I probably should. I know I've read it before. I can't remember. But anyways, the park board. Next up, we have Chelsea Kirkhammer coming in the lead at 39%. Cliff Hovda coming in second at 36%, and Devin Mance right now is in third at 23.9%. We still have precincts out, but that's a 1,000 vote lead. Do you want to hold off, or do you want to do that one? Should we wait?
What do you mean do that one?
You want to call it?
You want to call a race? I don't want to call a race.
Okay, we'll hold off.
You're a risky guy sometimes, buddy.
I like to risk it all. Then the next big one for that state, that District 38 House race here in town, Dan Ruby is in first at 42.7%. He has 1,391 votes. Christina Wolf is currently coming in at second with 1,008 votes, and then Lisa Olson at third with 843 votes, or 25.9%. So about 160 votes separate Olson and Wolf. So that's
it's tight still.
That is still incredibly tight. And then I think Dan Ruby at this point is pretty safe.
Yep.
Then if we want to just mention that congressional race, Julie Fedoracek is still in the lead. She's at 46.3%. Becker now is at 28.5%, and Munn's at 20.25%. So that one is that gap is
31,000 votes for Julie Fedoracek.
Fedoracek has 36,000.
36,000.
Becker's at 22,000. So that one is the gap there is furthering and furthering.
It's crazy.
It is. It's exciting to watch it play out. I haven't followed a local race this close on a primary day.
I haven't followed a local race this late into the night.
Without a doubt, we're at 9:30 now. We are definitely playing it out as well as we can. We have Mike Blessum for the city council race again is currently at 3,144 votes, leading the race currently. Rob Fuller in at second at 2,690. So Blessum is about 500 votes over. In the lead right now over the field. I think he's doing very well. If we want, is there any other one we were talking about? I think everything else is pretty well wrapped up. That candidate age limit is at 60-40. Both measures in Minot, the city measure and the school board measure, are both going to pass about 90-10. That school board measure, I don't know if we mentioned it earlier. I know I was talking about it. It is pretty much the same thing as the Minot city measure. It's just instead of the city council minutes being put in the paper, that one has the city school board minutes.
How much money does it cost? Tell me how much money it costs.
I don't want to know. Probably more than it should.
Yeah, I don't know.
Especially with the school board, it's already been running in a deficit for how long at this stage?
And everybody goes online.
Without a doubt. Everybody goes online.
I get the transparency aspect.
100%.
But it seems like there could be another place where they could be published where it doesn't have to be printed and it would save a little bit of money.
And how many people read the local newspaper anymore?
Well, everybody goes to mydakotan.com. I don't know about the local newspaper.
Because we are your best source of real local news.
We got real examples.
We do. We did it. Who else did that? I don't think anyone did in Minot. If they did, I haven't seen them.
What a guy. What a guy.
I love it though. Yeah, it's playing out well. Races are starting to distance themselves. We're starting to really get a good picture of how it's going to end up now. I mean, it's not over by any means, but we're currently at 233 precincts fully reported, so we are well over halfway there now. It is a lot of races have been called. That superintendent race we were mentioning earlier, Kristen Baszler is at 55% still. She's running away with that lead. Jason Heitkamp is still holding steady in second at 22%, with Jim Bartlett in third at 19.5%. Then county commissioner, there is.
How much does Heitkamp have again?
Heitkamp is at 22.05%. He has 20,000 votes. Then scrolling down from there with that Ward County Commissioner position, obviously Wepler and Rader are in the lead, but that write-in vote is up to 3,600 votes. There's 27.8% of the vote went towards that.
So we have, these are stats of the night, 594,000 eligible voters in the state, 102,000 voter turnout so far. That's with 385 total precincts, but 233 of those are now fully reported and 91 is partially. Can we confirm? I have it right here. Just want to make sure that we don't have any precincts fully still in Minot. That'll be the thing to watch.
Still are all partial. As soon as we get some of those fully reported, I think we can start calling some stuff there.
Yes, that'll be a good time. I'm looking forward to that.
I am too. I'll let you wave the flag.
No, no. The flag is all you, bud. Flag is all you.
It's great. It's the little North Dakota flag. I love it. We had to add a prop. We had to do something exciting
so
here.
Monday city council, right?
You betcha. Coming up.
And so we get to see the new members sworn in. Whoever there, it looks like we'll have at least one new member, right? We definitely will have one new member. But looks like we'll have two, maybe three.
Yep.
That's gonna be kind of exciting.
Will be. Make sure we'll be watching I have work obligations, but I'll watch that meeting live online. I'll have that article out that night, and then next Tuesday we'll discuss it and go over how the inaugurations all went, and if any business actually got done, and if it was a 3 or 4 hour session or not.
And it's interesting talking with like former Mayor Sean Sipma and Josh Wolski about the length of the meetings. I get it. 3 hours is a long time, but let's also take into consideration this is a city that's being ran
100%.
And when you go and look at we've been trying to identify all the consent items. So what city council does in Minot is they have this list of consent items that basically are grouped together and then approved.
Yep.
And you look at some of those consent items, they're big deals.
Some of those are very expensive things.
They're expensive things, but they're big deals to the running of the city. For instance, salary that has to be approved in order for the employees to be paid.
Yep.
Because it's a city. And so, yeah, the length of the meetings does get lengthy, and sometimes it could be cut down because it just feels like people are just talking. But
they're yapping like us.
We're 2.5 hours in. But It is a city that's being ran, and so there should be some respect that is given towards that,
which is fair. 100%. That's a completely fair point. And we're not a small city either by any respects, especially in North Dakota standards. We're the 4th largest city in the state.
That feels like an honor, doesn't it?
It does.
When you get called the 4th largest city in North Dakota, you're like, wait a minute. No, she said, Katrina Christensen said, I've been to the 4 largest cities in North Dakota. I was like, is mine not one of those in my head? And I was like, yeah, we are.
Of course.
And that felt good.
Yeah, we have a fair gap over 5th. I believe is it Dickinson or Williston? I'm not positive. I think it's Dickinson, but there's a sizable gap between us.
Those two are pretty close.
Yeah. I think we're still, Minot districts still have not, none of the precincts have fully reported in yet. We're still at 0 of 4.
Let's take a 2-minute break, 3-minute break like we've been doing.
Okay.
We will be right back. And we'll have some more results for you guys.
Stay tuned. Hopefully we'll have some updates.
Go. Breaking news!
We have a race to a call.
Whenever we take a break, something happens.
Exactly. Some race gets called, and we probably could have done this one a little sooner, but we wanted to be sure. Julie Fedorchak will be the winner of the Republican congressional primary race.
Let's be fair, Kyler. You were ready to call that since we went live.
You are right. I wanted to.
You just wanted to call races.
That's all I'm here for. I brought the flag and everything. So Julie Fedorchak will be facing Trygve Hammer this fall. That will be the race. That'll be an exciting race this fall. I think it could be contentious. We'll have to see how the Democrats end up doing this.
Yeah, but it could be contentious. But Sandy Sanford was very clear.
She's not for any kind of mudslinging.
Negative campaigning.
Yeah.
So I by how adamant she was about it, I believe her 100%. And I don't think it should be as much of a concern as we would think it would be.
Without a doubt. I think she's going to do everything in her power to prevent it.
Guys, we're going to be here for 14 more minutes. I cut you off, Kyler. You can finish your thought
you're good.
in a minute, but we're going to be here for 14 more minutes. We're calling it a night at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay. That's 3 hours. We might get a couple more numbers out of Minot, but it's looking like it's pretty clear what's going on there. Looks like there's going to be some tightness there. For the number 3 spot, probably the top 2 are somewhat comfortable. But those are that's basically the last interesting thing out there, right?
At this stage, I mean, Fedorchak getting that race called is the main one. I mean, if you want, I think we can pretty safely say Chelsea Kirkhammer and Cliff Hovda will be our park board members for next year.
Does that mean we're getting a new park?
I want a new park.
Where do you want a new park?
But I don't want to pay for a new park.
Just don't own a home.
Well, I'm halfway there. So the school board race still incredibly close. Lacey Lautenschlager is still in the lead at 18.98%. Scott Lauser coming in second, Bill Ehrman third, and Garrett Trudell fourth, and Michael Gessner fifth, with still some 35 votes separating Trudell and Ehrman. So that one,
there you go.
That third spot in that school board race is going to be one of the tight ones.
That one we'll probably find out tomorrow morning.
Yeah, very good chance we won't hear that one tonight. At this stage, we're running out of stuff to talk about. We appreciate everyone watching, everyone that came and tuned in tonight. If you're still watching, we appreciate it all. It has been a fun night. I've enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it. Sitting there listening to us talk about numbers all night. It has been a dream for me.
Yes, weird dreams. But next Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, every Tuesday. It doesn't even matter. This Tuesday, next Tuesday, whatever Tuesday. Just every Tuesday at 2. There is Minot Talk here at the Dakotan, where we talk about what's going on in Minot. And these bubblers are good. I just want to be clear about that. These bubblers are good.
They're pretty tasty.
I'm liking it. It's watermelon lime. Call it a smash, but
jeepers. It dropped.
I was afraid that was going to happen. So I didn't hold it over any electronics. It's gonna be all right, Kyler.
It's fine.
It's gonna be all right. Anyways, every Tuesday at 2. Minot Talk.
Minot Talks.
2 p.m. Minot Talk.
Minot Talk. Yes. We're
2 p.m.
talking. Yes. Minot Talk.
Minot Talk at 2 p.m. Talk radio and Minot. That's what we're going after.
We brought it back.
YouTube, Facebook. If you looking for it on a streaming platform such as like TuneIn Radio or something like that, let us know. We'll try to make it happen, but we need to know which platforms you want. So just reach out to us, let us know. We'll work on it. But we'll be talking about these results, but we'll also be talking about the first city council with the new members, whoever those might be. We'll get the lineup finished up here probably late tonight or tomorrow morning.
Without a doubt.
And so that's going to be very interesting. Looking forward to that.
I think one thing to talk about real fast before we head out is just the history of how 6 years ago in 2018, North Dakota had a very tight and contentious Senate race for the U.S. Senate between Heidi Heitkamp and Kevin Kramer. The past 6 years, it has felt like the Republican Party has just put a stranglehold on the state, and it very well may have. But I just want everyone to remember that it is very recent that this state was a contentious race between two different parties.
That's the kind of music they had. There was a lot of drama in it.
Yes, a lot of money and effort was put into that 2018 race between Heitkamp and Kramer.
Yeah, and it's going to happen again.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell just talking with the people that are involved.
The Democrats are ramped up. They're geared up. They're ready to go.
They're very focused and they have a plan.
They do. They're going to do everything in their power to win this fall.
You're easily distracted, buddy.
I am very easily distracted. If we want to go over our races one more time before we head off here.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Let's start at city council, where I don't think if we have
nothing's changed at city council.
Yeah,
so you basically only have to do state races.
Yeah.
You can go check out so like Diane Larson's now called.
Yeah.
So she beat out Adam Rose. Mike
That's
Nate's
District
called.
30.
Glenn Bosch hasn't, but Glenn Bosch most likely he's going to win that as well. That's the District 30 stuff. In District 34 representatives, it looks like Nathan Tillman runs away in first place, but Todd Porter comes in second. Pretty standard stuff there. What do you got?
I have one interesting thing here. I was looking at the county map for the congressional race for the Republicans. Fun little tidbit here. Alex Balasz won a county. He won Towner County. I wonder if that's his hometown.
He's from somewhere.
I assume that's where his home is. But I saw that on there and I thought that was worth mentioning.
Oh, yeah. Yep. That is interesting. Clary Corey still holding strong. Doug Swaski. Emily Bryan, Lisa Meyer, District 32, District 26. Looks like it's Jeremy Olson and Roger Mackey.
Yep.
Kelby Timmons is a little bit behind there.
It's very well turned into a night that has shunned the endorsed candidates and has been a night of change in the state. A lot of things have been shaken up. Minot's going to have very largely a different city council, likely 2, if not 3 new members coming in starting next week. We're going to have a shakeup on our school board. Then at the state levels, we've had anywhere from the House race to the superintendent races. They have all gone against the grain for the state, for the people electing. And we're currently at 107,000 votes today for turnout. So we have surpassed 2 years ago, and I fully expect that with
What was 2 years ago?
2 years was 106,000.
Barely.
And yeah, just a hair over.
But we still have how many precincts?
We still have we have 270 that have fully reported. So there's about 115 to report, and 62 have partially reported. So that means there's still a fair few that have yet to.
A lot of work to be done by somebody.
Yeah. Secretary of State's office is going to be putting this out all night. We'll definitely get finalized results in the morning. I think that school board race for 3rd is going to be incredibly tight, as well as I think the city council race is still close enough to call tight for that 3rd place spot.
Oh yeah, that 3rd place spot is not guaranteed yet.
Not by any means, and same with the school board. That's all up for grabs still. So it's been a fun night, Jonathan.
It's been a night. So you won't hear from us. I mean, you'll hear from us because there'll be articles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There'll be signs. But
we're still here.
You won't hear from us like this until Tuesday.
Yep.
Because every Tuesday, Minot Talk, 2 p.m.
2 p.m. every week. We are there. We're live. If it's not me, it'll be someone else co-hosting with Jonathan. I'll be here still hiding in the background doing, all the moral support stuff. And for sure, 1st and 3rd Tuesdays of every month, I will be on talking about the city council meeting from the night before. It's going to be I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. See how that first meeting goes with everyone in there.
It's time to say our thank yous.
Let's go for it.
First off, we want to thank every person that joined us and did an interview with us.
Yep. Thank you to all of them.
Wow. You deserve it. You deserve it. Yeah.
Hopefully everyone at home is applauding as well.
Second, thank you to you. Appreciate you joining us.
Of course, Jonathan. Thank you for hosting. You've
been
done
a ride.
Fantastic job.
Thank you to every person that watched this and left a comment. We were afraid. Man, our band is on point today. But that's what we were afraid of. We were afraid that
there'd be crickets out there.
Nobody would join.
It'd be just us talking to nothing. So we do appreciate everyone that watched it.
We do.
It's an honor to be able to do this.
It is. So another round of applause for you.
To all of you. Yes.
And to the people that jumped off while we were saying thank you, Sam. I don't know how I feel about that. This is a big deal. All right. All right. Somebody came back on. Appreciate you. To the Secretary of State, thank you for getting the results out in a timely manner. I really wish Minot would have their fully reported by now, because I'd feel better about saying goodnight. But we're just not going to get that.
Yeah.
And we don't know when we're going to get that. And so, but we're in a good spot. A lot of these things, we see the direction that they're going.
Yeah.
Overall, it is really interesting to see how it goes. In all seriousness, it's interesting to see how it all plays out. It's interesting to see how all the money that gets thrown in just a few hours, you see the results.
Yeah. How
it comes to find out.
Were the thousands or millions of dollars spent worth it? Was it all a waste?
Yeah. A lot of these candidates putting in a lot of their own money.
Without a doubt. And it's all coming to fruition or falling apart now for them.
And you just talk about money. That's not even including time and everything and the sacrifice that it took to run and all that. So that's something that whether we enjoy the people, their positions, you should still enjoy the person, but their positions and their strategies is one thing, but there's still a level of respect you can have for somebody for actually taking that step to run.
Without a doubt. Congratulations to all the winners, and congratulations to all those who ran. If without you, we wouldn't have the republic we do. We need to have contended elections. We can't just have people run opposed. So to everyone that ran in these races, you've done a fantastic job, and we appreciate you as well.
And to you that are watching, be sure to leave comments. Let us ask questions. If there's things you want to know about, there's people you want on, so that way we can do interviews with them. Let us know. We'll make it happen. Definitely want to know what you are interested in, so we can be a conduit to provide that.
Without a doubt. It's exciting to be here providing the service to Minot. I enjoy doing it every time I'm on. I look forward to it every week, and I've had a great time tonight.
Fantastic.
It's been a long day.
All right. Well, we'll hit refresh one more time just to see
what happens.
Just to see if there's
one more shot here.
A last minute hurrah.
Doesn't.
You know what we didn't do that we were going to do?
What didn't we do? What did we forget?
Well, it's fine because things came at us fast, but we didn't go through
the ads. We were going to. You're right. We were going to talk about all the negative ads that were out between Armstrong and Miller.
We were going to rank them or something. Because there's some, but we'll still do that. We'll just do it at a later date. We'll do it on Minot Talk.
Yeah, there we go. Maybe we'll find time next week or the week after or something to figure that one out.
That's just crazy stuff. So, all right. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a good rest of your evening. Be sure to join us Tuesday, 2 p.m. Minot Talk. Thank you. Have a good evening.